Absolutely. It's cathartic, yes. These guys are posting their own L's.
That those individuals out in the world have no place to turn.
That's
and
right.
Indeed, they're showing up and finding health clinics shuttered and soup kitchens closed and advisors who were helping governments renegotiate debt with China. Those advisors, now taken off the books.
That's right.
So just the wreckage in the world is what the USAID staff that I'm in touch with are carrying with them. That's what's keeping them up at night, as much as the question of what am I going to do tomorrow, and how do I take care of my family?
God, bro, I've never seen a bigger W. See ya, bitch. Go work at DoorDash. Go do Uber Eats. Go work at McDonald's. Put the fries in the bag. Like, thank God. Get the fuck out of here. What a waste of everybody's fucking money. What a complete waste of literally billions of dollars, bro. Billions of dollars wasted on these retards. You're wrong, especially about her. If you're in charge of this shit and you're okaying different types of advocacy programs for social issues across the world, you are using my tax money in a way that I will vote against. That's really just that simple. So you might not like that. You might think, oh, well, that's mean to say, but fuck that. Fuck that. I don't care. You're right. You are right, especially about her. Yeah, exactly. She's the one in charge. Yeah, exactly. And I love how a millionaire is for Trump. You think I give a fuck about that? I don't care about the taxes part. That's not even the point. It's not about a millionaire Trump. Oh, wow. Trump's going to cut my taxes. I hope he raises my taxes. That way we can put people like this back in mental institutions and we can solve the problem and people won't have to worry about it anymore. So, yeah, no, I hope that's what happens. Thank God. To deal with these people. This is insane. And this is what they do. And you can see that the moral capital that these people had for so many years has dried up. It's like they always go and they try to make these arguments about like, oh, we're helping people. People are afraid. It's emotional blackmail. And I think people are just fucking fed up and tired of it. It appeals to emotion. I'm sick of somebody trying to make me feel sorry for them. Suck my fucking dick. I don't care. Get the fuck out of here. It's embarrassing. Yeah, it's so much useless money out of your pocket. You don't even know how to do good. Exactly, yes. It's totally fucking true, man. Easy to help people when you're using somebody else's money. Exactly, man. No one feels sorry for her, to be honest. I definitely don't. I'll tell you that.
One more point.
So yeah, it's that simple.
Okay.
And click on Alex Jones' stream.
Okay.
He's not doing anything. He's just doing some bullshit. Like there's nothing else going on. I'm sick of people emotionally guilting me. Yeah, exactly. Why do you have to be so harsh? I get your point, but why do you have to be rough like this? The reason why I have to be rough like this is because these people will be just this rough to you if you try to oppose them. These are the people who tried to systematically disenfranchise you, tried to smear you, that tried to turn you into an enemy, that tried to turn your own fan bases against you. They funded websites that published fake and false and misleading information in order to slander gamers. These people are the ones that were responsible for it.
Doesn't matter.
Look right here, and I'll show you. Like, people think I'm fucking crazy. I'm not. Look at this.
But
people wonder our tax dollars used to promote wokeness in video games. Answer is yes. USAID paid Politico millions of dollars a year to write pieces like this one, which promotes diversity and describes Gamergate as disinformation and harassment campaign. So this is the thing, guys.
Okay.
I want these people to suffer. Because that's what they did to me.
Suffer!
I want to set an example. Get rid of these people. Put them, like, completely out of their jobs. Get rid of them. Make an example of them. Say, listen, this is what happens. Gamers rise up. What goes around? Yep, what goes around comes around.
I have a dream.
We're coming.
That gamers
I'll tell you
rise
that.
Up.
Cry more? We don't need to anymore. That's for them. So, yeah. Hold them accountable? Absolutely. Watching you is like a breath of fresh air. No, I know. There's a lot of people. Trump's about to sign more orders. I'll look at that in a minute. I'll see if I can pull it up. And now it's their turn to cry. No, I'm sure it is. But I'll see if I can watch this and see if anything crazy happens. But I'm not sure if it will. Yeah, nothing yet. But soon Trump signs another order. Holy fuck, man. And anyway, yeah, no, I hate these people. I think they're parasites, and I will do whatever is in my power to make things worse for them however I can. Because I feel like in the last 10 years, I've lived under the tyranny of people like this. Not only under websites that have rules that make these people feel good, but also under video games that they try to censor and change and then demonize me for complaining about it. And I am I want to let you guys know, like, I am a revenge enjoyer. I am. I love it. And I'll go all the way. I'll go all the way. And so he's right. That's it. And so we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep doing it. It's a vendetta. No, it is. I have a vendetta against these people. I hate these fucking people. I fucking hate them. And so, yeah, I'm glad to see this happening. And I hope that they just keep pushing for it. And I will keep pushing for it as hard as I can. And that's it. They took the shit that I love and fucking destroyed it. They did. Exactly. And same, to be honest, make them suffer. Yeah. I mean, obviously, you know, no calls to violence. Goes without saying, right? But, like, I just want these people out of their position and totally discredited. But, yeah. I remember telling everyone this was coming back in 2016, the shit they did to Peterson. Yeah, exactly. The whole Politico thing is misleading. No, it's bullshit. You get, like, you really think that they're paying for all this other shit and they're not trying to push this too? No. It's common sense this is happening. Like, you're not going to try to, like, actually me on this. It's so obvious. No respect for him anymore. Well, I never had any, but now I have a way to exercise it. So, yeah. They destroyed established franchises. Like, I was sitting... The thing is that... And I never understood the anti-revenge moral you have in film. I'm telling you, it doesn't fill you. What bullocks? Revenge doesn't solve must, yes, but boy, does it satisfy. I feel like revenge solves tons of problems. Yeah, what do you mean? Like, that's not even true. And also, like... It's not even really about them. It's just about them trying to, you know, look for sympathy and shit. But, yeah, it looks like... And this is also... Look at this. This is crazy. We're also sending money. Look at this. This is nuts. How does this even happen? And so, let me see if I find it right here. Yeah, so the BBC... I didn't even know this. The BBC is unhappy about U.S. government funding cut. This is a statement they made. A free press is essential to freedom and democracy. 75% of countries around the world do not have free press. BBC Media Action supports local media around the world to deliver trusted information most people need. Like most international development organizations, BBC Media Group has been affected by the temporary pause on government funding. So this is 8% of their fucking revenue? 8% of their fucking revenue for the, what does B stand for? Not big. It does not stand for big. It's a different one. It stands for fucking British. What the fuck are we giving them money for? It's insane. It's nuts, man. What are you talking about? Fuck this shit up. Yeah, this is insane. Yeah, they founded their shit on our propaganda. Exactly. I saw this also. There are community notes. Contributors see all the crazy notes people try to put on this. Yeah, I guess so. My mom always said forgiveness gives people less power over you than hate. Really? Well, that sounds like somebody that's not able to exercise their hate very well. Didn't y'all fight the Brits to not have to pay taxes? Yes. And that's the difference, right? So we had, you've got to remember, you know what the Boston Tea Party was over? 2%. 2% taxes. And we said, you know what? We're done. We're fucking done. Like, this is it. 2% on only tea. We said, you know what? That's it. No taxation without representation. We shut the whole thing down over that. This is 8% for them to peddle bullshit. Would you say you're someone that hates easily? Not really. I mean, usually I just let things go. I don't really care about it. But if I feel like somebody is trying to act in... if I feel like somebody is trying to, like, encroach into my space and make me do something that I don't want to do, then I will absolutely attack them back, and I view it as an aggression. And so, like, I think that the best way to deal with that is to respond, right, in the same way. And so, because, like, I was just in my space, I was in my room, sitting in my room doing nothing, and then these people come into my room and they try to change stuff. That's it. It's self-defense. Let's see, what's this here? What are you doing, man? You didn't even read the last paragraph saying BBC Media Action is a charity and not BBC News? Really? You think it's a charity? As the BBC's international charity, we're completely separate from BBC News and wholly reliant on donors to carry out our work? Yeah, for sure. Yeah, maintain credibility, cherry picking. Exactly. You really think that they're not paying these people money? You really think that? Don't care? Yeah, that's the same thing. So let me get this straight. So basically, you think that because it's a charity, that they're not trying to push an agenda. So these people are giving money to different places, and then that money is being used for media. And you think that for some reason, I'm supposed to think that this is okay because they say that they're a charity. Well, if I'm giving a charity, if I'm giving away bombs for charity, I'm still a bad guy, right? That doesn't make any sense. It's laughable. It's ridiculous. It's a ridiculous fucking thing to say. Yeah, and this is it. Totally separate part from BBC Media umbrella. Really? So you don't think that they exercise any editorial or discretionary control over who they give the money to? You think that you actually think they don't do that? And you think that they're not funding different places that are, you know, adversarial to our interests? No. So you know? I don't know. I just guess. I put the pieces together. I see what makes sense, and I assume that, yeah, actually they are working against my best interests. It's that simple. Yeah. It's common sense. Yeah. I mean, again, like, people always like to cling to, like, oh, well, this is, you know, there's no evidence. Oh, where's your source? Where's your proof? You've got so many fucking things that align that happened at the same time. I don't know how people can't see that. Why the fuck is why the fuck is our government giving taxes to foreign charities? Yeah, exactly. People defending this? Well, the reason why they defend it is because they agree with it. It's that simple. Yeah. I testified against PD months after I was made homeless, stripped of COVID rights on the streets, nothing DSS. Told me to go back to Texas. I don't know about that. Did you see a picture of Texas holding RPGs next to USAID tent? I did, but I didn't really think much of it. They could have just taken it over. So it's really not that big of a deal. We don't trust the BBC here, you're fine. Yeah, exactly. Taxes should never go to charity. Well, they should. They should just go to American charities, too. I don't want my taxes going to some fucking foreign charity. Get the fuck out of here. I don't trust most charities in general. Yeah, exactly. Especially not the ones that are in bed with the government. So anyway, yeah, it's a question. Why should American taxpayers fund a British Broadcasting Corporation? It's insane. It is. He's completely fucking right. And so this is really the way that I see it, and I'm really glad to see this happen.
Three, 2, 1. Boom. Oh my God.
Election night in America, one of the most consequential elections in recent history.
Donald Trump has won the presidential election in Kentucky.
Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Oklahoma. Missouri will go to Donald Trump.
It's clear now that Donald Trump has picked picked up key support among Hispanic voters, despite all the things that he said.
Donald Trump will win the state of North Carolina.
That the state of Georgia will go to former President Donald Trump.
The evening was getting increasingly somber as people realized what this map is looking like.
CNN projects that Donald Trump will win the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania.
Kamala Harris is not winning. So you won't hear from the Vice President tonight. News Decision Desk can now officially project that Donald Trump will become the 47th President of the United States.
Do you really think that the Democratic Party is fighting for you? The overwhelming answer is
Bum, 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 bum.
no.
I love Shu. He's so funny.
Well, well, well. What have we learned? Nothing, apparently. I regret to inform you, everything I predicted about the election in my last video came true and more. Men did overwhelmingly turn out for Trump, especially young men. But I was wrong about one thing. Young men weren't the only ones who came out in droves for Trump. Nearly everyone did. The madman took everything, every swing state, Pennsylvania, Georgia, my home state, New York, was closer to flipping red than Florida was to flipping blue. Turns out Dick Cheney as Brat wasn't the best message to win over voters. Dems did so bad it really had me thinking, damn, did we steal that election? So what happened here? How did it go so wrong? Is it too late for the Democratic Party, or can they turn this around? Will the Democrats learn from this, or will they double down and get worse? In this video, I'm going to go through all the excuses and the copes the Democrats and the broader left are coming up with to avoid accountability. Read some silly tweets, watch some silly news clips, and even give the Democratic Party some advice on how to win 2028. Don't worry, Republicans watching this. They won't listen. Maybe in 2050, under the barren Trump monarchy, someone might come to their senses, but not anytime soon. If you only watched or read most mainstream liberal news, it really seemed like Kamala had this in the bag, which is why you should try to get your news from a variety of different sources. Oh, that reminds me. Before we dive into this election dissection, let's give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, a sponsor I've been working with for over 4 years now, Ground News. Ground News is a website and an app that gives readers an easy and transparent way to read the news all across the political spectrum. Every story comes with a quick visual breakdown that helps you understand the full story and makes sure you're getting both sides. One of my favorite features of Ground News is the blind spot feature, which shows you what news stories have been covered by one side of the political spectrum and ignored by the other. For example, here is a story about how Bernie Sanders is open to working with Trump on capping credit card interest, and there's 23 sources on it, and 89% are right-wing. No left-wing sources have covered the story. And this story about how 2 women have told the ethics panel that Matt Gaetz paid them for sex, 31 sources, 61% of them left-wing. You can even see who owns these political outlets. Ground News also makes it really easy and fun to compare headlines to see how ownership or political bias can affect the framing of a story. For example, this story about how a man was arrested after allegedly a stabbing spree in Manhattan that left 2 dead and 1 injured. This left-wing outlet says, man arrested after alleged stabbing spree in Manhattan that left 2 dead, 1 injured. This right-wing outlet says, 2 dead, 1 critically injured in Manhattan as knife-wielding maniac launches unprovoked stabbing spree. I have been using Ground News since 2021 and I am just obsessed with this app. It is a great and easy way to stay informed, plus it really helps me see how both sides frame the same story so differently.
Okay, God, thank you the 50 gifted! Thank you so much, I really appreciate it, thank you!
First of all, for Black Friday, I am offering 50% off their Vantage plan, which is the plan I use to access all their amazing features. This is their biggest discount of the year, so go to ground.news/shoe, use the QR code here on the screen, or use the link in the video description down below, and subscribe today for only $4.16
Only $4?
I personally think what they're doing is very important because it helps approach the news in a more balanced and transparent way, and I feel like we really need that nowadays. So thank you, Ground News, for sponsoring this video, and thank you, the viewer, for not skipping the ad.
I did not.
Right. And now let's get back to this election dissection, shall we?
There's no point in saying good morning, because it certainly is not one.
Oh, fuck off. Someone shit on my desk and I'm pissed.
Cheese and crackers, dude, every 4 years is more dramatic than the last, chat. Like, honestly, it's crazy.
Claiming the American people to blaming Joe Rogan, the Democrats and the media are having a hard time coping with their loss, and I don't blame them. It was a pretty big loss. Embarrassing, quite frankly. Donald Trump overperformed in nearly every state, with basically every demographic, and the entire country seems to be—
Holy crap, man. That is actually crazy.
Shifting more red. Everyone was so sure dangerous, devious, dastardly Donald
fuck
would
off.
never make his way back into the White House to
Come
steal
on.
democracy.
There you go.
And he did it. With democracy. Anyway, I got a lot of comments on my last video from new fags like, wait, you're left-wing and you hate the Democrats? Yeah, man, that's a pretty common thing. If you were shocked that I'm—
Yeah, she was like really left-wing too. And you wanna know what's funny? 30 years ago, that wouldn't surprise anyone. It's surprising that now in 2024, because nobody actually gives a shit about policy anymore. Everyone only cares about fucking identity politics and virtue signaling. So when you meet someone that does neither, they're like an anomaly, like a fucking, you know, like a ghost. They're like, ooh, I don't understand what you're doing. I don't get it. Wait, you don't participate in our team sports? Then they both hate you. She gets labeled as both.
left-wing, maybe that's a sign you need to take a step back and evaluate some of the preconceived stereotypes you have of people. Not all of us are crazy blue-haired socialists, no. Some of us are crazy brown-haired socialists.
She's so hot.
But for those of you who are new here, hello, I am Shoe on Head. If you ask the right wing, I am Stalin. If you ask the left wing, I am Hitler. Fiscally far—
That's what I just— literally what I just said. Exactly what I said 30 seconds ago.
Or left, culturally centrist, socially retarded. But
How
if
the
you really must put me in a box, it's not that hard to pin
Okay.
me down. I'm a populist. Think Huey Long if he was a 5'3" Italian
I've heard of
New
this
Yorker
guy.
woman who still did her hair and makeup like it was 2008. Put a pin in that Huey Long name, by the way. He's gonna come up later. I grew up in the 90s and the 2000s. My political awakening was JibJab.com. The first time I voted for Obama. I was ready for that hope and change. Instead, we got the crushing of Occupy Wall Street and more drone strikes. And from there, it only got worse. I voted for Bernie in the primaries in 2016, and I watched as the Democratic Party did everything in their power to destroy this man twice. So
That
it
was
is safe
sad.
to say I am a little biased when it comes to the Democratic Party, but I don't think I've hated them more than I do right now. The truth is, my
Bro, you
last video
fucking
was
Sanders.
way meaner and way harsher than the final product turned out to be. When I showed the video to my assistant, he basically had an intervention with me and he was like, listen, you need to soften this up a bit. It's a few days before the election. You went too hard. Well,
She had a worse version of the video, and not like worse isn't bad. I meant like harsher?
the election is over. And I'm sorry, River, but I'm going hard.
Oh my god.
You idiots. You morons. You imbeciles. Kamala Harris? Really? That's who you threw up there? The one who dropped out before Iowa? The one who got blown the f out by Tulsi Gabbard? Why didn't you hold a primary? Aren't you the f***ing saviors of democracy? Where the f was the democracy? Oh, big congratulations to Tim Walz on being the first white male DEI hire. It didn't f***ing work. The DNC completely neutered that f***ing guy, reduced him to this weird token white man. Hello, fellow men, I too play football. But hey, men weren't the only demographic you completely dropped the ball with. Trump made incredible gains with women, too. Oh, and all those never-Trumpers you tried to court, the people who like the old respectable GOP? You know, the old respectable GOP that led us into a pointless war that cost us trillions of dollars and millions of lives. But we're at least nice on Twitter. That GOP. Yeah, they didn't come out and vote for your ass either. So you got Liz Cheney to tag along for what? For f***ing what? You raised $1 billion and ended up $20 million in debt? Where the hell did all that money go? Maybe you should have blown it all on celebrity appearances that did f***ing nothing. Or maybe it was spending 6 figures on a single-use set for the Call Her Daddy podcast that didn't even hit 1 million views. I want to see a full audit of this campaign, because I wouldn't be surprised if this was all like a big money laundering scheme. Because honestly, that makes more sense than this being a legitimate presidential campaign. Then, they had the audacity to beg their supporters for money after she lost. How about every DNC consultant should have this map sewn onto the inside of their eyelids? May they never have a peaceful wink of sleep for the rest of their miserable lives. So that is how I feel about the whole situation.
Chad, I think mommy's mad. I think she's very angry.
But what do Democrats and the media think? What do they think the Harris campaign did wrong? Why do they think Kamala lost?
I think Harris ran a really good campaign. If there's one person I do not blame for this loss, it is Vice President Harris.
This is gonna be a long fucking video. The media this morning saying Dems need to have a record. No, we don't. We can't be blamed because we expected Americans to be who they always claim they are. Democrats don't have a messaging problem. America has a racism problem. Kamala ran a flawless...
Here we go. Vote for me or you're racist. Vote for me or you're a misogynist. We hate all men, especially white men. You are literally all as bad as Hitler and a plague on society. We don't need or want you. Vote for us,
flawless
by the
campaign.
way. God dang it.
What does that
campaign
mean?
in 100 days, and I
what does
refuse to let y'all gaslight me into believing
having
anything
a
other than that.
flawless
She lost because she's a woman, and a black one
mean?
at that.
I mean, this really was an historic, flawlessly run campaign.
Listen, I'm no political analyst, but losing seems like a pretty big flaw. Truly, don't overthink it. It's because she's a woman, she's a black woman. Don't overthink it. In fact, don't think about it at all.
And Kamala Harris lived up to our dreams. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. She ran a remarkable 107-day emergency campaign full of joy and hope.
Kamala Harris was the perfect candidate, and she ran a beautiful campaign of joy, empathy, and unity. Joy and empathy and unity doesn't motivate people to go to the polls. No wonder Republicans had incredible turnout.
People care about their grocery bills, man. That's all they care about.
And so many Democrats stayed home. This isn't Steven's universe. You just can't, like, joy and empathy and unity your way out of not being able to afford food for your family. CNN has a story titled, Where the Harris Campaign Went Wrong. Nope, I won't read it. Harris ran a great campaign. The story should be titled, Where the American People Went Wrong. La la la, I can't hear you. La 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 la, I can't hear you. It's not me, it's you. La 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 la. The cope is...
It is honestly amazing to me that the people who are so deeply ingrained in politics, like the tweets here, right? The experts, the journalists, the talk show hosts, you are the people that are supposed to be the most knowledgeable about politics, yet you all make the exact same glaring mistake of trying to convince people and everyone else that they feel is wrong, instead of convincing them that your view and you're the guy is the one that's right. It's all just vote for me or you're a racist and a misogynist and wrong. You can't talk down to people and expect them to vote for you, especially when the grocery bills have doubled and tripled in the last 4 years. Like, you should be convincing people to join your side, not shame them into coming onto your side, man. Like, it's just...
It's unreal here. They don't even want to listen to criticism. They really think they did absolutely nothing wrong. They only see this as a Trump win and not a Democrat failure. Kamala Harris was not a flawed candidate. America is a flawed country. This incredible tweet here is from Shannon Watts, who is on the board of Emerge America, which is an organization that, quote, shows Democratic women how to run for office. Yeah, we're never getting a female president.
Oh.
Biden's been a phenomenal president.
For
He's lived up to so many of the promises he's made. There's one promise left that he could fulfill, being a transitional figure. He could resign the presidency in the next 30 days, make Kamala Harris the president of the United States.
Whoa.
Give it a solve.
Wow.
What the f is this Make-A-Wish president shit? Like she's a little kid who wants to play pretend. Oh, just let her for a few days. What? Please tell me. We're not—
Let them be a real, like, winner. Why do you need to give them like a consolation prize? Nobody wants that.
Gonna get the first female president out of pity. Well done, America.
Pity,
you
exactly.
failed
That's
them
the word I
both.
was looking
The
for.
people cannot let politicians down. That's not how this works. As a politician, you are not owed anyone's vote. You have to earn it, and evidently she didn't earn it. We already went through this in 2016. Donald Trump beat both female candidates. Donald iron ceiling Trump. It's not our fault the female candidates you're putting up are dogs. Give us some good female candidates and maybe people will vote for them. At this rate, the first female president is going to be a Republican. Mark my words, it's bound to happen. And
oh God.
If it doesn't happen, this was a joke. One of the groups that showed up overwhelmingly for Trump was Latinos. One of the major stories of the results is the significant surge in support for Trump among Latino voters. Trump nearly erased the Democratic advantage in this group, narrowing the gap from 33 points to just 8. Democrats gonna—
Holy crap. Oh my God. Oh no, chat. Like, I want you to know, just because I'm not political doesn't mean I don't see this shit on Twitter. Are we about to get into the whole deport anyone illegal that voted for Trump thing? Where, like, that dude was, like, calling ICE on his neighbors? Like, oh my God, man. I saw people saying that, like, just because of the whole election. This was so bad, man. Please, God.
Build the wall 50 times higher after that one. We have to have a very, very uncomfortable conversation about Latino
yeah, like this. Like, exactly like this. Not this exact tweet, but in the vein,
voters in this country. Me watching him deport the Latinos and the Arab Americans after they voted for him. And Cinco de Mayo.
To all,
oh my God.
all you Latinos that voted for Trump, I hope he mass deports you and your entire family. Whether
get me off this planet, man.
you were here legally or not, you gotta go.
I know for a fact that most Latinos for Trump have undocumented family members. So if you know of a Latino who voted...
Yep, here we go again. Can't wait for the most horrible and fucked up thing to happen to this group of people because they didn't vote how I wanted them to. Very sane individual, not unhinged at all. Also, you're fucking insane if you think he has the power to deport literal American citizens. Like, hello? It doesn't matter how recently you got here. If you're a citizen, then you're a citizen. And guess what? You have to be an American citizen to vote. So no, nobody that voted, regardless of race or who they voted for, is getting deported. This is actual brain dead schizo talk. Nobody thinks like this.
For Trump, I
Except these
urge you
people.
to call this number and report said family members.
Donald Trump's strongest soldiers. Spiteful liberals.
A district that—
Vote for me, by the way. Or else I'll advocate for you to be deported. Yeah, that'll convince them next time, for sure.
It's 97% Latino, went 75 percentage points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep.
So-
and they were begging people to care about it for years. We need to fix the less.
That's what that was.
Another—
Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the
That's
on
why.
the border.
It's
75 percentage
dude.
points for Donald Trump. Why?
Misogyny.
It's on the
That's
it's on
why.
the border.
It's
the border
misogyny.
crisis is on their doorstep.
So-
and they were begging people to care about it for years. We need to fix the less.
That's what that was.
Another demographic for people that overwhelmingly showed up to vote against Kamala were Muslims. In a Michigan-specific poll of 502 registered Muslim voters, Stein got 59% support, followed by Trump at 22%, and Harris with a tiny 14% of the vote. The results show significant backlash to the Biden administration's handling of Israel's brutal war in Gaza, which has killed at least 43,508 Palestinians, including more than 16,765 children, as well as
That's
how the
sad.
Harris campaign chose to tackle the issue. So how exactly did they tackle that issue? Why, sending that old pervert freak Bill Clinton up to Michigan to talk down to Muslims about Palestine.
I understand why young Palestinian and Arab Americans in Michigan think too many people have died. I get that.
Bro.
Muslims really said, we hate you more than the guy that talked about a Muslim ban.
Oh my
Just a
God,
side
that's
note,
so
look at this fucking guy. It's like he has daily—
I can't. I'm sorry. A lot of people died. But I'm sorry I'm laughing. This is just so funny to me.
Dose of adrenochrome in a week. Someone get this man a fresh child stat. Muslims, Latinos, who else are we gonna blame? Ah yes, women. Yes, Trump improved with young men, but he drew in young women too.
Wow, look at that. 52% of all women who look like me are f***ing stupid.
Despite
It's literally all just identity politics at the end of the day, isn't it, Chat? At every turn, at every angle. Ankle. Women and ankles, am I right? I don't understand how you can preach diversity and simultaneously, like, group up every single demographic on the planet by skin color, gender, religion, sexual orientation, and expect them to vote that way. They're just people, man. They're individuals. They have their own lives. They're gonna vote for whatever matters to them, not what you try to guilt them into based on their appearance and beliefs, bro. Well, and/or beliefs.
Making abortion the number one issue in her campaign, despite Brat Summer, despite the white women for Harris Zoom calls, and most of all, despite the Taylor Swift endorsement, Harris only managed to get +8 with women. Despite it all, many women came out to support Trump, especially Gen Z women. In 2020, 30% of young women voted for Trump. In 2024, 40% of young women voted for Trump. In fact, so many women voted for him that women on TikTok started wearing blue bracelets to signal to other women that they were one of the good ones who didn't vote for Trump.
Is that not mental illness, or am I crazy? White women are making blue friendship bracelets to show they didn't vote for Trump.
What's on your mind?
I think I'm going crazy. I'm living in a simulation.
To signal to other women that they were one of the good ones who didn't vote for Trump.
Swifties, I'm buying as many blue beads and blue hearts as I can, and I'm gonna make bracelets, so we know who we can trust.
Yeah.
Bro, I've never cried in front of a camera, like, in my life, and you're crying over and saying Swifties. I just losing it.
Some young women in response to Trump's victory are starting to get into the 4B movement. A movement started in South Korea. Basically MGTOW for women. Women giving up on dating men, having sex with men, having babies, marriage, whatever.
Oh no, man. I saw this on Twitter. Is this gonna show that post, that Reddit post, I think, of the girl who, like, told her family she's joining the 4B movement because of Trump? And her dad and brother were like, that's great, at least you won't be a whore anymore. And she was like, oh, what? Oh my god, dude. Please show that one. Oh my god, dude.
We are taking Coochie off the table indefinitely.
Cancel all future plans with men.
Oh my god.
4B is where it's at. Use their own stupid traditional views against them. Say that you don't want sex before marriage. Say that you are waiting for the right man. They will be seething because they are sexually dependent on women who they call sluts. See, this is the best angle. No sex before marriage. Give them what they voted for. So
Don't conservative men want traditional women that don't have sex before marriage? Am I crazy? Isn't that like an attractive thing to a lot of men that are conservative? Yeah, I'm sure that'll show them. Darn.
Conservatives won the election and women are threatening to not sleep around. Kind of seems like the conservatives want a little more than just the election. I might do a whole video on the 4B movement. Tell me if you're interested in that. I don't know. Anyway, young men did come out and support Trump, and apparently for the reasons I and many others predicted. We asked young men why they voted for Donald Trump. Here's what they said. Nick Sumners, a 21-year-old cosmetic car repairman from Virginia, says he is pro-choice. When he voted in the 2024 presidential election, he did so for Donald Trump. Despite his personal beliefs, he says that Trump talks about the American people in a way that resonates with him, without, in his opinion, faulting him for his gender and sexual orientation. I'm a straight white man, and I feel like we take the blame for a lot of things. Of course there are bad guys, he adds, insisting that he's not one of them just because he voted for Trump. But what appealed to him about Donald Trump was that his campaign was not coming after us. He was highlighting the American people, which we are. It doesn't matter what color you are, what you may identify as. Since I wasn't excluded, I resonated with it. When you tell a young white guy, hey, you're an oppressor, and because you're white, you have privileges that your black and Hispanic peers didn't have, and you're inherently at fault, or you're guilty for that, which is what a lot of the left wings or Democrats are saying. We're not racist, we're not misogynistic, we're just normal people, and we are friends with everyone. We're tired of hearing a lot of this BS from a lot on the far left. I feel—
What? You mean with identity politics, he talked to you like an American, and it wasn't about insert X race or X gender here, like an individual and not a statistic? Damn, crazy how that works. Talking to Americans and convincing them to vote for you instead of talking to the blacks, the whites, the gays, the men, the women, individually shaming them into like voting how you want and voting how their polls say they should. Like, it's so dystopian, is it not? It's so strange to me.
I feel like there's this cultural frustration that young men have that they're not allowed to be young men. I hope the male loneliness epidemic eats you MAGA scum alive. I hope you feel a hole in your soul and feel unloved until your dying day. I hope you rot in your deathbed, wondering why women looked at you like you had rabies your whole life as your eyes closed for the last time. Unfortunately,
dude, it's literally that I hate you, I hope you die meme.
The all men suck branding just isn't good for getting men to ally with you. Oh no, it can't be! Is that the consequences of my own actions? Yes, the reasonable and rational men know you aren't talking about them, but maybe it's time to realize that most men aren't reasonable and rational. How do you speak to young men when they're literally Nazis? Why are Gen Z males the f***ing Hitler youth? How do we—
I'm sorry, Shu. I'm gonna say this a lot in this video chat. Vote for me, by the way. Fucking 129,000 likes. Tweeted this on election day. Literally just the most chronically online, unhinged echo chamber of schizos.
How do we get young men to get on board with the Young Men Each Die movement? Hear me out. Maybe not calling them Hitler Youth? After the election, a YouTuber I am subscribed to uploaded a video called How the Right is Winning Young Men, and I was excited to see his take. But then it comes time to talk about men's issues, and this is how he did it.
But this is the part where I want to enter the male loneliness epidemic. I know, we're all tired of it.
The entire idea of the male loneliness epidemic is it's this idea that really centers men and men's feelings.
Why do they address it like it's not real? They just say, they use the word idea.
The premise is quite a flawed premise to begin with.
I agree. I also, I have such mixed feelings about this. I do. Unpopular though it is on the left to like give grace to the male loneliness epidemic. I have mixed feelings about it. I'm picking my words carefully so the leftists don't murder me. Like, don't rake me over the coals for this, but I think that
you have to defend yourself
I understand
like that?
as much as I can understand a heterosexual man.
Yeah, I think we found the answer to the video title. I have to pick my words carefully so my own movement doesn't attack me for caring about men's issues. You see the issue?
Yeah. Yeah, it's massive. That's really sad to hear, in my opinion. That is just sad, dude. Like, having to go, oh my god, I have to pick my words carefully, you guys. Don't rip me apart. I'm one of you guys.
If you can't talk about this without having to walk on eggshells in fear of your own allies ripping your head off, maybe that—
They don't just rip your head off like a verbal lashing. They try to deplatform you, get you banned, and stop you from speaking entirely. And if they can't do that, they create Blue Sky and start a new echo chamber. Like, ugh. You're definitely setting yourself up to win the next election, by the way. Like, by creating another echo chamber where no dissenting opinion can be heard. Definitely gonna pull a lot of new voters from that. Surely, right?
Is part of the reason men are moving right. Also, I feel like this is really important to say. I don't think all these men are moving right. I think just a lot of them hate the Democratic Party and feel alienated from the left. So what was the overwhelming takeaway from the Democrats and the left? To actually start listening to men? No, of course not. Instead, their solution once again seems to be we need a liberal Joe Rogan.
Oh my god, man. You can't have a liberal Joe Rogan because you don't let people criticize you. And you know what's funny? Everybody says like Hassan is like the liberal Joe Rogan. And I know a lot of people hate Hassan, and I don't like his takes. But even, like, Hassan will criticize the Democrats. Like, he shits everywhere. He shits on everyone, and he takes it really far. I just don't ever see that happening.
We need a liberal Joe Rogan, ASAP. We need a left-wing Rogan. Democrats are going to keep losing until they have their own Joe Rogan, their own Elon Musk, until they create their own alternative to Fox News. People saying Harris should have done Joe Rogan are missing the point. That wouldn't have helped her. Liberals need to build their own Joe Rogan. Oh my god.
And like, think about it, like, Joe Rogan brings on literally everybody onto his podcast to have discussions about, like talking about anything while getting high or, like, smoking a cigar. Everybody on his podcast gets to talk. Meanwhile, these people are creating Blue Sky so they don't have to see tweets they don't fucking like. You can't have a liberal Joe Rogan because you'll cancel him for talking to people with opinions that don't align with your own. Like, cheese and crackers, man.
We need a liberal Joe Rogan. You had a liberal Joe Rogan.
Yeah!
His name was Joe Rogan.
Exactly!
But he was too edgy, too problematic, said too many no-no words, talked to too many no-no people about no-no topics. And in 2020, when Bernie Sanders went on his podcast and Joe endorsed him, the Democrat journalist class freaked the out.
I remember that, yeah!
Smeared him for weeks. The left can't have a Joe Rogan. Because everything that makes Joe Rogan, is not allowed on the left. Kamala Harris dished Joe Rogan podcast interview over progressive backlash fears. So Joe Rogan was too problematic, but Liz Cheney was fine? Listen, you don't need a leftist Joe Rogan or liberal Joe Rogan. You just need leftists and liberals to go on Joe Rogan. And that means not giving shit about being canceled by your own movement.
Look, you can have an argument with Rogan, agree with him, disagree with him, but what's the problem going on those shows? I got vilified by some of the Democratic establishment because I went on Rogan's show. Now a lot of other people are doing just that.
Anyways, liberals should start doing podcasts and TikToks and whatever aimed at setting the youth straight. Ah yes, there's nothing the youth enjoy more than being set straight.
We don't have...
Youth is meant to rebel, just so we know. That's like actually like an inbuilt mechanism.
Equivalent of Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson to move that man in a feminist direction. By the way, we should educate men that it's actually really great to live with a strong woman who makes money. It's actually easier. Life is easier.
Chat, would you give a shit if your girlfriend or like wife or whatever made more money than you? To the point where you don't even have to work? What do you mean we need to convince men that it's okay? I don't think any man has a problem with it as long as it's not weaponized against them and told that they're pussy.
Who the fuck is
Or
complaining?
get called names. No, wouldn't care. Wishes she would. Yeah, exactly. That's a benefit. No, in fact, I hope she does. Damn, look at that chat go. They're like, nope, don't really care. Nope. But my male masculinity, that horror. Sure, I wouldn't hate. Yeah, exactly. Like, what are we actually talking about here, man?
We're gonna be under Republican rule for the next 100 years, aren't we? Trump's win leaves Democrats asking, where are our bro whisperers? We have to make entertaining, engaging content that men want to watch and care about. Then, over time, you pepper in more progressive views. So you want to start a normal podcast and then start sprinkling in propaganda? Should you even be saying this out loud? Dems need to see.
God, give me a second.
Seriously,
Oh my
put
God.
all their money into creating propaganda network to compete with the right's massive amount of propaganda. Democrats need their own.
I just took psychic damage in my brain. Oh my God. Oh, my brain. Holy fucking shit! This video is gonna make me say shit that gets me canceled. This is fucking insane. What do you mean you need more propaganda? Eminem, Megan Thee Stallion, who else was it? Like, the Swiftie, Taylor Swift, Oprah.
Propaganda machine, and I'm not even joking a little bit. First of all, again, I don't think we need better propaganda is something you should be saying out loud. Second of all, Democrats already have that, and have had it for decades. It's called Hollywood. It's called every celebrity, every institution, every piece of media, from movies to video games. Every celebrity from Beyonce to Taylor Swift endorsed her. She had Cardi B at all her rallies. She got the fucking Avengers together.
Hi, you guys. Hi, Avengers.
Hey, Scarlet. Wow, Trump is literally Thanos. By the way, with all these like journalists and people talking about how Andrew Tate,
Trump is literally Thanos.
Oh my God. Apparently, do people just forget that American colleges clearly lean left? Like 80% of the legacy media leans left? Okay, hold on. I gotta think of an example. I'm gonna give an example. Asmund said it best. When Elon bought Twitter, people started getting super aggressive and just eviscerating left-leaning people and ideas, sometimes maybe even going too far. And Asmund brought up, like I think it was 2-3 years ago, there wasn't a single social media website that wouldn't instantly ban you if you said anything, like even like a minute crumb of anything that went against their agenda. And people are making up for like lost time at this point, for those years that they were silenced for, and mainly during COVID. And he was right! Now tell me, how the fuck are you losing a propaganda war when you literally held all the cards in your hands for fucking years? You had the power to literally silence people on social media under the guise of misinformation, and somehow you need more propaganda? You're just delusional, man. Like, you need some meds, man. Just go take your meds. Settle down. Simmer down.
Joe Rogan. Yeah, be prepared to see some of the most forced, overproduced, astroturfed streamers and YouTubers to pop up overnight and subtly or not so subtly start shilling for the Democratic Party. You're gonna start seeing funded DNC plants all over YouTube, Twitch, TikTok.
Do you think it would be obvious? Probably. I don't know. I'm not convinced.
I really do think the answer to all of this is more podcasts. All the funding in the world won't buy you an audience. You could have $1 million set and the best sound and video equipment ever, but it will not buy you a large and dedicated audience. I've been using a Mac laptop webcam and a shitty snowball mic for over 10 years, and you idiots keep coming back for some reason. And
yeah, I have the same one. Wait, I have the blue one, actually. She's the gray one. Like, I feel like you have to normalize talking to people with opposing viewpoints. I've talked about this before, about how, like, I watched this presidential debate on, like, YouTube that was from the 1970s, and it was all super respectful, and everyone was complimenting each other, and they were like, you know, they were just being super nice, and they may have different ideas on how to get there, but we share the, they would say, but we share the goal of improving America, and, like, whatnot. If you're cultivating an audience by demonizing the other side of the political aisle, you're going to have a hard time bringing new people, right? Because the thought process becomes, well, if this guy is in this political party, it's evil. But he says one thing I agree with, then that makes me evil. And if I say I agree with it, I'll be ostracized by my own team, like they showed in like right here with that man with the podcast and the woman. Like, just put your pitchfork down and have a calm conversation with people. Treat them like individuals and not like Hitler. And things will get better. It's that easy. I know, it's crazy. I probably sound like I'm insane. Like,
listen, it's 2024.
It's so
Y'all have a
easy,
camera and a
man.
microphone. Be the liberal Joe Rogan you want to see in the world. But the thing is, if people can hear your opinions when they turn on the TV, they're not gonna watch your shit. People tune into alt media to hear alt opinions. Even the most popular leftist streamers, like Hassan, for example, spend a lot of time criticizing the Democratic Party.
Yeah,
so
they
it's gonna
do.
be hard to build some kind of like Democrat shill Joe Rogan. But I can't wait to see you try. After the election, one of the only politicians I've seen who is actively trying to understand why people voted the way that they did is AOC. When I met her, I whispered into her ear, "Take the pronouns out of your bio." And she did. When I met her, I whispered into her ear, "Take the pronouns out of your bio." And she did. My influence. Anyway,
oh my god, no way. She's trolling, right?
After the election, AOC found out
Surely.
that a ton of people voted for her down ballot, but also voted for Trump for president on the same ticket. Curious, she took to her Instagram to ask people why they did that. And these were some of their answers. I feel like Trump and you are both real. It's real simple. Trump
This
and you
is
care for the
mature.
working class. But also you signified change. Trump signified change. I've said lately, Trump sounds more like you. Loved ones say you're—
Whoa! See, that's the other thing. People just hate politicians regardless of political affiliation. Like, being viewed as relatable and not as a career politician is a super big deal. It's kind of like streamers. Like, the more relatable you are, the more liked you are. It's like both political parties are a football team, but both football teams are still under the NFL, so no matter who you vote for, you're gonna get the same poison. It's just gonna be a different color. Yeah.
both straightforward and challenging corruption and broken government. Because it's different than what has been the last 4 years. Something had to go. I feel that you both are outsiders compared to the rest of DC and less establishment. Voted Trump, but I like you and Bernie. I don't trust either party establishment politicians. The replies, of course, were full of people like, these idiots, these morons, these fools. Most depressing shit I've ever seen. These people sound dumb as hell. Such staggering ignorance and stupidity. The median voter. I hate the median voter. I want to destroy the median voter. Why?
Are we okay, man?
Why is the median voter this stupid? I hate the median voter. How could this be real? Americans really are the dumbest gentlemen on earth. This is giving me a headache. I don't understand the median voter. Listen, it's really not that hard to understand. It's populism, honey. It's why when I went to January 6th and told a bunch of boomers I was a Bernie supporter, a ton of them reacted like this.
I think he's one of the few honest people that I think he's honest.
Oh.
He beat Hillary Clinton, and he would have beat Joe Biden, too.
People hate empty suits that sound like they're constantly reading from a script. They want someone who tells it like it is.
Yeah, the relatability. It matters, man.
Someone who fights for the everyman, or at least sounds like they do.
How are you feeling about Trump's upcoming presidency, Trump 2?
I voted for him.
Oh, you like AOC?
Yeah.
Did you vote for her?
Yeah. Remember one thing about why people voted for Trump. They want change.
The average American voter despises the establishment and will vote for anyone who promises to destroy it. And the fact that none of you understand this is a big reason why you lost and will continue to lose until you do understand it. Capiche? The beatings will continue until the populism improves.
The swamp
How could
or
people
whatever.
have voted for this felon? How could they vote for Trump, especially after January 6th, where he led a bunch of his supporters to destroy that beautiful, shining beacon of hope? Well,
yeah, I don't know about beautiful.
First of all, you have to understand that that's not a shining beacon of hope to most people. That is a dirty, disgusting brothel that sold out the future of their children and will probably send them into the next World War. After all the indictments, the mugshots, the committees, the documentaries, people clearly don't care about January 6th. And that might scare some people, but the truth is, a politician that promises safety and affordable food can do 100 January 6s. It's kind of like FDR said.
Asmund says this and he gets a lot of shit. Not like regarding this exactly, but with video game devs and, you know, Blizzard. They don't care.
Democracy has disappeared in several other great nations, not because the people of those nations dislike democracy, but because they had grown tired of unemployment and insecurity, of seeing their children hungry while they sat helpless in the face of government confusion and government weakness through lack of leadership. Finally, in desperation, they chose to sacrifice liberty in hope of getting something to eat. Speaking of FDR,
yo, what's up?
Like the pyramid of needs, right? Like nobody cares about like your political party if they're starving or have to work 3 jobs to get through it. Like it's really that simple.
Let's talk a little bit about the guy that FDR stole a bunch of his ideas from, shall we? Someone who the modern Democratic Party should probably try and learn from. That's right, I finally found an excuse to talk about my favorite politician. The man, the myth, the legend, the kingfish himself, Huey Long. Huey Long was the 40th governor of Louisiana from 1928 to 1932.
Wow.
He was a populous member of the Democratic Party and rose to national prominence during the Great Depression. He took on big oil and Wall Street and drastically helped lift Louisiana out of poverty. Long had voted Trump, but I like you and Bernie. I don't trust either party establishment politicians. The replies, of course, were full of people like, these idiots, these morons, these fools. Most depressing shit I've ever seen. These people sound dumb as hell. Such staggering ignorance and stupidity. The median voter. I hate the median voter. I want to destroy the median voter. Why?
Are we okay, man?
Why is the median voter this stupid? I hate the median voter. How could this be real? Americans really are the dumbest gentlemen on earth. This is giving me a headache. I don't understand the median voter. Listen, it's really not that hard to understand. It's populism, honey. It's why when I went to January 6th and told a bunch of boomers I was a Bernie supporter, a ton of them reacted like this.
I think he's one of the few honest people that I think he's honest.
And he would have been Joe Biden, too.
People hate empty suits that sound like they're constantly reading from a script. They want someone who tells it like it is.
Yeah, the relatability. It matters, man.
Someone who fights for the everyman, or at least sounds like they do.
How are you feeling about Trump's upcoming presidency, Trump 2?
I voted for him.
Oh, you like AOC?
Yeah.
Did you vote for her?
Yeah. Remember one thing about why people voted for Trump. They want change.
The average American voter despises the establishment and will vote for anyone who promises to destroy it. And the fact that none of you understand this is a big reason why you lost and will continue to lose until you do understand it. Capiche? The beatings will continue until the populism improves.
The swamp
How could
or
people
whatever.
have voted for this felon? How could they vote for Trump, especially after January 6th, where he led a bunch of his supporters to destroy that beautiful, shining beacon of hope?
Yeah, I don't know about beautiful.
First of all, you have to understand that that's not a shining beacon of hope to most people. That is a dirty, disgusting brothel that sold out the future of their children and will probably send them into the next World War. After all the indictments, the mugshots, the committees, the documentaries, people clearly don't care about January 6th. And that might scare some people, but the truth is, a politician that promises safety and affordable food can do 100 January 6s. It's kind of like FDR said.
Asmund says this and he gets a lot of shit. Not like regarding this exactly, but with video game devs and, you know, Blizzard, they don't care.
Democracy has disappeared in several other great nations, not because the people of those nations dislike democracy, but because they had grown tired of unemployment and insecurity, of seeing their children hungry while they sat helpless in the face of government confusion and government weakness through lack of leadership. Finally, in desperation, they chose to sacrifice liberty in hope of getting something to eat. Speaking of FDR, let's...
Like the pyramid of needs, right? Like nobody cares about like your political party if they're starving or have to work 3 jobs to get through it. Like, it's really that simple.
Let's talk a little bit about the guy that FDR stole a bunch of his ideas from, shall we? Someone who the modern Democratic Party should probably try and learn from. That's right, I finally found an excuse to talk about my favorite politician. The man, the myth, the legend, the kingfish himself, Huey Long. Huey Long was the 40th governor of Louisiana from 1928 to 1932.
Wow.
He was a populous member of the Democratic Party and rose to national prominence during the Great Depression. He took on big oil and Wall Street and drastically helped lift Louisiana out of poverty. Long had many...
She dressed up as a flapper! Whatever it's called. It's flappers,
Flapper?
right? Flapper? Look at her! She looks so silly. God, I cute though.
Supporters and haters, and to this day is celebrated as a populist champion of the people, and at the same time, denounced as a fascist demagogue. To give you a better idea of who Huey was, here are some quotes from the man himself. Corrupted by wealth and power, your government is like a restaurant with only one dish. They've got a set of Republican waiters on one side and a set of Democratic waiters on the other. But no matter which set of waiters brings you the dish, the legislative grub is all prepared in the same Wall Street kitchen. The only difference I ever found between the Democratic
Base, if you were alive today, they'd find him dead with 2 bullets in the back of the head with a loving family and no issues and call it a suicide. I'm sorry, was that too dark? Oh shit.
Leadership and the Republican leadership is that one of them is skinning you from the ankle up and the other from the ear down. But Huey Long wasn't some enlightened centrist, no. The man firmly had a side, and that side was the people. I'm for the poor man, all poor men, black and white. They all gotta have a chance. They gotta have a home, a job, a decent education for their children. Every man a king. That's my slogan.
Dude, that's beautiful. Every man a king, black or white. And, chat, you know what's crazy? In the 1930s, they still had segregation. He was for the people. Damn, dude.
When asked if he cared about the bad press he got, Huey replied, "All I care about is what the boys at the forks of the creek think of me." And when Big Oil threatened to leave Louisiana, he said, "If they gotta leave, they can go to hell and stay there."
Beast!
They don't make politicians like this anymore. Politicians used to be like mob bosses. Now they go on Call Her Daddy podcasts. Sad. Huey had many powerful enemies, and because of this, he was assassinated in 1935.
I didn't pre-watch this chat. I didn't. It's pattern recognition! Fucking Lois!
His last words were allegedly, "God, don't let me die. I have so much to do." There's a lot of talk online right now about how we need a Joe Rogan for the left and Andrew Tate for the left. But there's also talk about how we need a Donald Trump for the left. And, well, Huey Long was exactly that. And to be completely honest, I don't think you people could handle a Donald Trump for the left. You couldn't even handle Bernie Sanders. You called him a sexist and a racist and did everything in your power to crush him and keep him.
Yeah, Bernie was super soft too. Like, no, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, like, just. It was just, like, really soft.
Flapping around.
Down. But unlike Bernie, Huey Long wouldn't just lay down and take it. Huey Long would scare the shit out of the modern Democratic Party. But if there's anyone they need to take a lesson from, it's him. Alright, time to get out of this costume. I feel like an old hooer. It should come as no great surprise that the Democratic Party, which has abandoned working class people, would find that the working class had abandoned them. Bernie Sanders said in a statement about the results of Tuesday's election, while the Democratic leadership defends the status quo, the American people are angry and want change, and they're right. Will the big money interest and well-paid consultants who control the Democratic Party learn any real lessons from this disastrous campaign? Will they understand the pain and political alienation that tens of millions of Americans are experiencing? Do they have any ideas as to how we can take on the increasingly powerful oligarchy, which has so much economic power? Probably not. All the groups that Sanders originally courted, young people, Latinos, the working class, are gone. And I don't know if they're coming back. Maybe this is a one-time thing, maybe it's just because of Trump or inflation, or maybe the meme is coming true. Maybe Republicans are the new party of the working class. Democrats—
Damn, they flipped? You think so?
Working class
Bernie
exodus
Sanders
sets off reckoning within the party. Democrats, who have long prided themselves as the party for the little guy, instead strengthened their emerging base of financially secure college graduates this election, while a growing number of blue-collar voters embraced Trump and Republicans. Especially alarming for Democrats this election, the exodus of working-class voters from the Democratic Party included not just white voters, but helped Trump make gains with Latino and black men. This realignment crystallized a political reality that is tough for Democrats to swallow. With blue-collar voters flocking away from their party over multiple election cycles, Democrats' refashioned base is becoming more upper-class, urban, suburban, and coastal. It's a narrowed coalition that does not bode well for future elections. To put things into perspective, the Trump coalition is closer to the Obama coalition than the Harris—
Holy shit! Holy crap, what? Oh my god, that's actually insane.
first one is. That is crazy. That is wild. That is what we call a potential party switch. And I don't really care about how many leftists or Democrats cope about this. We have better union policies. We have better wages policy. Yeah, that might be.
No. Nobody cares about policy anymore. I already said that earlier. It's just browbeating team sports. Like, just go. If we care about policy, we'd be having respectful conversations, like, you know, back in the day. But the average American political debate now is who's got like the sickest burn or gotcha moment, man.
Be true, and I agree, but we don't get to decide who the party of the working class is. The working class does. And exit polls are anything to go by. Basic left-wing economic policy is still incredibly popular. People just hate the Democratic Party. White men without college degrees are going to ruin this country. First of all, white men without college degrees built this country.
Exactly.
Second of all, this is apparently a real Democratic Party strategist saying this. You want to know how to win 2028? Step 1, stop listening to freaks like this. The election, if having a degree was a requirement to vote. And this is what the election would look like if everyone was allowed to vote. Oh wait, that's this election. I too hate democracy.
And I think Bernie Sanders is wrong. I think the more relevant question actually is what is wrong with America?
Democrats have a smug problem. The day after the election, an NBC News chart circulated on Instagram that highlighting exit poll data showing that the more education you had, the more likely you would vote for Vice President Kamala Harris over President-elect Donald Trump. Some liberals used the occasion to look down upon the icky dummies who were too stupid to know they shouldn't vote for Trump. Yet Trump's victory was both definitive and diverse. He won broad swaths of the electorate, making significant gains in New York and California, and winning over larger percentages of Latino voters and young voters than in 2020.
Insane.
He also won a majority of first-time voters. Large factions of the left condescendingly believe that dumb people are the reason Trump won in 2016 and won again in 2024. And that patronizing, visceral vibe is obvious. It's a massive turnoff to many other voters. It is a mountain smug Democrats have to overcome if they want to reconnect with voters. Once, the coastal liberal establishment had an air of open-mindedness. But now, these elites have evolved into the provincial, narrow-minded scolds they once critiqued. All their education has narrowed their worldview. Their credentialism has built themselves a bubble in which to hide from reality. The contempt many liberals and some leftists have for the working class has never been more on display than it is right now. Even coming from some leftist YouTubers I watch that I know better and spend a lot of their time trying to bring people to the left. Your college degree does not make you any smarter than a working class person without a college degree. And more importantly, don't talk down to a vast majority of the population, because
Chat, how many times have I said college is a scam? If you don't want to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an engineer, go to if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer or engineer, go to college. If you don't, stay the fuck away from it. It's a money-draining, like, pit of greed. It's vile. College is not there to help you. They are not there to improve your life or help you reach your goals. Every single college, at least in the US, is like, it's like McDonald's. Yeah, it's the same as McDonald's. They want your wallet. They don't care how much life-crippling debt they put you in. It's that simple.
Despite how badly you want to believe it, they are not stupid. They are the people who grow your food, build your houses, pave your roads, fix the plumbing in your luxury apartments. And guess what? There are more of them than they are of you. So maybe you people should start listening to them instead of wagging your finger in their faces as if disagreeing with you is some moral failing, because it's not.
That's right.
These people aren't all racists and Nazis or whatever. They are normal people. They are the proletariat. That's who you should be fighting for. And they don't believe you are fighting for them. More importantly, there is a difference between being educated and being smart. IQ isn't just about how many books you read or how many words you know. A lot of it is about pattern recognition, and boy did I recognize some patterns here.
Yeah. Yeah, no joke.
Maybe you guys should have listened to the bimbo with populist brain rot, because she seemed to be right about a lot of this. If the Democratic
and she's hot
Party wants to win another election, they need to start understanding the importance of populism. Drop the divisive identity politics and focus on the bread and butter issues, or you are doomed. Become the party of Huey Long again, or you are doomed. But you know what? Maybe you're not doomed. Because if Trump fails to deliver on his promises, or we get like George Bush 3, it's totally possible that the populism vacuum will be open again. Will the Democrats take advantage of this and actually put up a good candidate? No. They're gonna put up like Pete Buttigieg or Gavin Newsom, and the populism vacuum will be filled by people like my Twitter mutual and soon to be Vice President of the United States, JD Vance.
Oh my god, yeah, like a couple of videos ago she said she was Twitter mutuals with him.
That is still so weird. What do I do with this power? Hey,
funny,
JD,
dude.
best buddy, I have an idea. It's called Patriot Care, and it's healthcare, but our tax dollars go to it instead of bombs. Doesn't that sound cool? If you can't beat him, join him. The fact is, this election was a complete rejection of the liberal ideology.
She actually sent it.
Or it was just because of inflation and people want to afford eggs again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was probably that. It just
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of my chat complains about that.
It sucks to see the party you voted for your whole life, the party you grew up with, just get worse and worse over time. After this, the Democrats are gonna move right in the dumbest ways. They're gonna become like the new neocons, but gay. And I have no idea how a second Trump term is gonna go. I hope it goes well. I don't know. Congrats to RFK, I guess. I'll see you guys in the Adderall labor camps, otherwise known as the concentration.
You send people taking Adderall. What?
Camps.
Uh-oh.
Get it? Okay. Anyway, so that is enough of my yapping. Now I want to hear you yap. Why do you think Trump won? And what could the Democrats do to win 2028? Anyway, if you liked this video, please consider subscribing. Also, if you can, donate to me on Patreon, or you can do a little tip with the little tip jar down below somewhere. It helps the channel a lot, and I appreciate it so much. And I will see you very soon with a new video that is very, very different than this one. Some of you might like it. I know a certain community will, but that is it for now.
No! No! She's gonna talk about VTubers! No! I think she's talking about VTubers!
So,
¿Dónde está el problema?
A certain community. Oh god. Oh my god. I'm gonna have a heart attack. I'm gonna shit my pants. Imagine she takes a big fat dump all over me. It's like, this dumb bitch, stop fucking reacting to my shit. Fucking kill yourself. I'm kidding. Oh. What I've done, I miss my nail. Chat, check her out. She's so funny.
Fashion.
Oh my god, funny woman. Hey, cats!
And
Get away from my fucking bat kitty. Sorry. Bad music? Shut the fuck up. You know what? You're getting fucking time now. Shut the fuck up. Bad music. Don't ever say Linkin Park is bad music. You might not like it, but it's hilarious. Pay.
Thank you very much. We had a busy day. We were dealing with lots of different people on lots of different things.
Herbalism.
Some
Herbalist
terrific people
right
in
there.
Japan trying to
Okay,
solve
thank you.
some of
Thank
the
you.
problems that
There
are
you
going
go.
on in the country and outside of the country. We're doing very well with respect to other countries really behaving on taking the criminals that they sent into our country, and we're getting them out. These are some of the worst people on earth, and they're getting out and they're being accepted
Herbalism
back in their
and
countries,
mining,
without
perhaps.
exception. So a lot of people thought that was not going to happen, but it's happening.
In
very
case I
full
want to do
force.
engineering.
It's obviously going to happen. Of course they're going to do
But that's
that.
not going to be until level
We're getting
60
some very,
anyway.
very dangerous people out of our country, which is very important.
Yeah.
Will, perhaps we'll go through the first one, please.
Yes, sir. So earlier today, before the press came in, you signed a commission appointing Chris Wright to be your next Secretary of Energy. We have another commission prepared for your signature, sir.
The fuck is that?
Doug Collins to be Secretary of the VA. Doug Collins of Georgia.
Two very good men.
What, they run out of books? Bro, they got him signing the Constitution.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Great to meet you.
Next up, in light of numerous actions taken by a number of bodies of the United Nations which exhibit a deep anti-American bias. We have an executive order prepared for your attention that would withdraw the United States from the UN Human Rights Council, would withdraw the United States from the UNRWA, which is a refugee organization, and would also review American involvement in UNESCO, which has also exhibited anti-American bias. More generally, the executive order calls for a review of American involvement and funding in the UN in light of the wild disparities in levels of funding among different countries that, as you expressed previously, is deeply unfair to the United States.
So I've always known that the UN has tremendous potential. It's not living up to that potential right now. It really isn't.
It's crazy how long it took for this shit to happen. How long we support people that fucking hate us.
Hasn't for a long
I
time.
hate this shit.
There are great hopes for it.
Get out, yeah, true.
It's not being well run, to be honest, and they're not doing the job. A lot of these conflicts that we're working on should be settled, or at least we should have some help in settling them. We never seem to get help. That should be the primary purpose of the UN, United Nations, and again, it's got great potential, and based on the potential, we'll continue to go along with it, but we got to get their act together.
What would they need to do, sir, to get their act together?
Well, you got to be fair to countries that deserve fairness. They have some countries, as you know, that are outliers, that are very bad, and they're being almost preferred as countries to those that do their job, and they're doing a good job, and they have to really, they're going to end up losing. A lot of countries are going to end up losing.
Somebody says, bro, U.S. sends weapons to a country to fuck people up. The least they could do is send money to the organizations to help the wounded that get fucked with the weapons. This is my viewpoint. Stop sending the weapons. Stop sending the aid. Yep. You're halfway there. No, I agree. Like, yeah, no, that's what I think most people believe.
Losing their credibility like other organizations, and then they're going to be nothing. The potential of the United Nations, and not everybody agrees with me on this, the potential of the United Nations is fantastic, if properly run. So we'll see what happens.
How much money are you going to take away from them?
Well, we're taking away a little bit, but we're not looking to take away money. This is so important that we're really, as you know, the United Nations is largely funded by us. But
I'm pretty sure we sell a bunch of weapons. Well, I mean, if a country buys a weapon from us, like, that doesn't make any sense. So, like, you're saying that, like, if we sell a bomb or we sell a weapon to another country, now we have to give that country money when they use the weapon? How does that make any sense? Yeah, I don't think so, man. That's crazy. Yeah, no, absolutely not. Yeah, do we have to pay for their funerals too? Exactly. It's ridiculous.
It should be funded by everybody, but we're disproportionate, as we always seem to be. But it's something that if it ever lived up to the potential...
And no, we didn't see this.
In 10 minutes, it would make up the difference. That's the kind of power it could have. Right now, it doesn't have that power.
Next, sir, this is a national security presidential memorandum that seeks to impose maximum pressure on the government of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Many of these provisions are similar to actions that your administration took during your first administration. The basic idea here is to have every...
Was Iran the country that recently lowered the age of consent? No, I don't know if it was or not. It was Iraq? Oh, okay, it was Iraq.
Department and agencies, or many departments and agencies in your government attempt to sanction and control Iranian activities, particularly relating to the Iranian nuclear program and the Iranian export of terrorism through support of various proxy groups abroad. And the intent here is to give you all of the possible tools to, I'd say, engage with the Iranian government to ensure that going forward they are less of a malign actor on the world stage.
So this is one that I'm torn about. Everybody wants me to sign it. I'll do that. It's very tough on Iran. is what we had before. We would have never had the problem. You would have never had October 7th. We would have never had the problem had the election gone a different way, which it should have. But this one, I think, more than made up for it. I think we're doing things that it shows that more than made up for it, much more historic. The Iran situation, hopefully, I'm going to sign it, but hopefully we're not going to have to use it very much. We will see whether or not...
A lot of people in Iraq love you, by the way. A lot of things, y'all got to understand, like, it's the same thing as in China. Like, I'm critical of, like, China's government. Like, I know a lot of you guys that live in these countries are like, yeah, like, it's the same as, like, us in the U.S. Like, there's probably people that are mad at, like, people in the U.S. They're like, well, why do you guys keep bombing, like, our country? Like, well, we don't want to bomb you. I didn't vote for that. Fuck that. Like, I don't have anything to do with that. I know that most guys that probably live in these other places that are watching, yeah, the government's not, like, especially in a lot of these places, the government is not the people.
We can arrange or work out a deal with Iran, and everybody can live together. And maybe that's possible, and maybe it's not possible. So I'm signing this, and I'm unhappy to do it, but I really have not so much choice because we have to be strong and firm, and I hope that it's not going to have to be used in any great measure at all. It'd be great if we could have a Middle East and maybe a world at total peace. Right now, you don't have that. When I left, you had peace all over the world.
He can't make the Middle East have peace. If he does, that means he's the Antichrist. And so that's actually, yeah, you can't have that happen.
World, and now you have the world is blowing up. As you know, Bibi is coming in to see me later. Others are coming in to see me. We'll see what we can do. But I'm signing this, and hopefully it will be a document which won't be very important, will hardly have to be used.
So what kind of deal would you be prepared to make?
Well, we're going to see. I mean, we're going to see. They cannot have a nuclear weapon. With me, it's very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. We don't want to be tough on Iran. We don't want to be tough on anybody, but they just can't have a nuclear weapon.
Mr. President, are you going to engage in conversations with your counterpart in Iran?
I would.
Do you want to block the sale of Iranian oil to other nations?
Well, we have the right to do that, and that's what I did before. And they had no money. They wouldn't have had the money for Hamas or Hezbollah or anybody else. I just...
How's he the Antichrist for that? Oh, there's a number of like indicators that, like, in the Bible and Revelations that they say the Antichrist is. Obama was a pretty good contender for being the Antichrist, by the way. He filled a lot of the quotas, and you know, I could see why people were concerned. He was, and it ended up not happening. He ended up not being the Antichrist, but yeah.
It could have been solved. This thing was just, if things went the way they should have, this would have been over long ago.
Yeah.
But it's not over.
How close do you think Iran is to developing nuclear weapons?
I think they're close. I think they're close. They're too close. But again, you could go back 4 years, I would have said they would have had it during this intervening period. But they're pretty close, Peter.
And why say that you're unhappy to sign it if it's Iran and their proxies who have threatened to retaliate against you and your team by killing you guys for taking out Soleimani?
Well, they haven't.
That's a big question.
Done that, and that would be a terrible thing for them to do. Not because of me. If they did that, they would be obliterated. That'd be the end. I've left instructions. If they.
So basically, this was an idea in the Cold War. It was called a dead hand, where basically if we bombed Russia or Russia bombed us, there would be an automatic activator that would just let loose all of the nuclear bombs to the other country. Yeah, the dead man switch. So basically Trump gave them instructions if they kill him, what to do.
Do it, they get obliterated. There won't be anything left. And they shouldn't be able to do it. And Biden should have said that, but he never did. I don't know why, lack of intelligence perhaps. But he never said it. If that happens to a leader, or close to a leader, frankly, if you had other people involved also, you would call for total obliteration of a state that did it. That would include Iran. So I'm signing this, and it's a very powerful document, but hopefully we're not going to have to use it.
Mr. President, if the Prime Minister today were to ask your help in striking at Iran's nuclear facilities to prevent progress towards a nuclear weapon, would you give him the green light? Either to do it himself or for the U.S. to participate with him?
I don't know that that's what he's going to be asking for. I have no idea that it is. You're telling me. We're going to have a pretty long meeting. We're going to be discussing a lot of things, not only that, but a lot of things. And I'll let you know if the time comes to let you know. But right now, that's not.
He's obviously not going to say that.
I can discuss.
Yeah, why would he say that?
You said if they do it, they get obliterated. Just to be clear, you're talking about if Iran made an attempt on your life.
Yeah. That would be called total obliteration. And I can't imagine they do that. It should have been stated by Biden, but he didn't state it because he had no clue, as you know, as everybody knows.
What is your vision actually for relationship
Do you have
with
anything
Iran?
else?
No, that's all we have.
My vision for
For
what?
a relationship with Iran. And
It was yesterday. Yeah, I
I'd
didn't
love
get a
to
chance to
have
cover
a good
it.
relationship
I
with
didn't watch
everybody.
it.
They can't have a nuclear weapon. That was my only. It was the only thing that was very important. They can't have a nuclear weapon. Beyond that, we'd be very tough if they insist on doing that. They have some of their leadership, I can tell you right now, and maybe you know it, maybe you don't, but there are many people at the top ranks of Iran that do not want to have a nuclear weapon just for that very reason.
Yeah, I bet. Yep, I fucking bet. And Hitler failed because he didn't have a dead man switch. I think that Hitler failed for a lot of reasons. Yeah, that's not one thing, but either way, I feel like that's kind of not a surprise at all, and not a surprise in any capacity. But it's kind of crazy that he's already making plans in case people try to kill him. Yeah, Hitler didn't have any nukes. Yeah, as far as I know, he didn't. I mean, they might have been close. I assume that they were. That's why we got all their people, right? But still, and yeah. Hitler failed because he got too cocky and pushed too far. I mean, my understanding, I'm not like an expert in this, but like I feel like he probably failed because of the aggression against Russia. Like him trying to attack Russia and then doing it in the winter and then like all their people dying. Like I think that's really what made him lose. Like that was the big one. Yeah, the Russian winter. Like that's a massive one. So, I mean, like, obviously the U.S. played a role, but, like, I mean, they kind of own gold themselves. I mean, that's what, I mean, Napoleon did the same thing, right? I mean, so it's kind of crazy that he would have made that same mistake, but it was just stupid. He got overextended. He failed because he land leased. Yeah, the timing and his ego, maybe, I don't know. But, like, that's just, that's all I remember. But, yeah.
In focus, Trump border czar Tom Homan. Look, Tom, I have so many questions. First of all, if they're shouting and helping these people get away with bullhorns, how is that legal to get help from the people in the streets? I know they can protest, but that's not what they're doing.
You're exactly right. When they come to they cross the line of impediment, and that's why I'm working very close, starting this morning with Department of Justice, and where do they cross that line of impediment? So they may find themselves in a pair of handcuffs very soon.
This is the whole thing.
So working with DOJ on that, get some legal guidance on that. I'm not an attorney. I know what SecOps is about. I know what crossing that line is, but getting DOJ back up on that. So it's something we're looking at right now, Harris.
This is
we're not going to tolerate it anymore. This is not a game. When we show up these sites, this is a dangerous job for the men and women of ICE and Border Patrol and all the DOJ agencies. To have that type of interference puts our officers at great risk. Not only the officers, it puts the aliens at great risk because anything can happen when we take our eyes off the goal here. So we're addressing that immediately today. I'm addressing OPSEC today. Operation Security, how these leaks are happening.
Thank you. Well, it's people that are actively trying to make it harder for the police to do their job because they think that the police are bad or something.
We've already identified how this operation got leaked. I'll deal with that today.
Interesting.
So, it's all about
Does
controlling
Dr. Phil
the message.
count? Yeah.
I try to be transparent. I promise American people will be
Isn't that
transparent
illegal?
with
Yeah, it
operations.
is.
But it's obvious. We can't be having all these different news outlets out there with us on various raids. Bill Melugin, great guy, but we got a lot of OPSEC concerns we're dealing with right now. But the leak, who we identified today, we'll deal with that today. But It's not a game. I want to put it out to whether it's Governor Phil Murphy or the rest of the people that who want to game this. It's not a joke. This is serious business, and they need to stop, or we won't prosecute them through the Department of Justice.
Look,
yeah, that's what they need to do, especially the people that are talking about like hiding illegals in their house. Yeah, absolutely. Do you think these people helping illegals care about the law? Yeah, I think they do. I think that they dramatically. I mean, like, yeah, they're protesting because of the law. They do care about the law a lot. They'll care if you arrest them. Yeah, exactly. Like the people like this, that they do it because they think they can get away with it. The moment that you stop letting people get away with this shit is the moment that it stops happening. It's actually that simple. Like, the reason why people do stuff like that is because they can.
I know our audience was paying attention when that agent or officer told our reporter Bill Malugin there have been some intel leaks. Like, those are very specific. So I understand what you're saying. You mentioned my state's governor, Phil Murphy. Yeah, he's trying to walk back the comments that he made about possibly, you know, I guess it would be aiding and abetting if you're keeping somebody on your property. But we'll see what happens.
It is aiding and abetting. It absolutely is. Yeah, I totally support going after him. Thoughts on ICE agents going into schools and removing undocumented students? Totally support it. Get them out. I'm not I'm not the kind of person you can emotionally blackmail. Yeah, they shouldn't be here. They should have never been here.
He says that's not what's happening with somebody he thought was on his property or said was. I do want to ask you this because I've heard you say, Tom, that you expect more violence. And you were talking specifically on the border, but why would that be?
Well, look, President Trump is, promises made, promises kept, right? He said he's going to secure the border. The numbers are down significantly. Look, and we talk about between the port of views, I know...
Trying to use kids in schools as some moral blackmail is some bullshit. I just think people are fed up in general with the amount of moral blackmail and emotional blackmail that every single one of these conversations devolves into. And I think that's why people respect guys like this who just literally don't give a fuck about it. Yeah, I'm so tired of it. Yeah, if the kid's not supposed to be here, they shouldn't be here. Get them the fuck out. Absolutely. Problem solved.
Port early numbers are down about 67%. Actually, between the ports of entry, that takes into account port of entries. Between the ports of entry, we're down closer to 87%. Yeah. As we lock that border down, we're taking money out of the pockets of the criminal cartels, right? They've made record amounts of money in the last 4 years, smuggling aliens, sex trafficking women and children, moving drugs across the border. As we secure that border, their business is going to drop, which means billions of dollars less they make. They're not going to go away quietly. So I truly expect violence to increase on the southern border just because of who they are. That's why President Trump has designated them a terrorist organization, because they are. They've killed more Americans than every terrorist organization in the world combined. They're not going to go away quietly. So we're going to expect more violence on the border. But let me get back to ensure what Phil Murphy says. When he goes out there and does this, plays this game, if the governor can do it, he sends a message to the whole world. They can do it too. Again, putting our officers at grave risk. It has to stop, or they will.
No, it does. You should do more videos like those kick streamers going after pedos, but you kick migrant children out of public schools. So the reason why I don't make the videos and talk about the kick streamers that try to catch pedos is that a lot of the kick streamers that do that end up breaking laws, and they actually make it easier for those people to get away. And they basically interfere with ongoing investigations, and they invalidate investigations for content. And so, like, I understand what your point is, and you're like, oh, why aren't you focusing on, like, these people and not the other people? But the reason why is that I think that those people, their goal is not to necessarily stop pedos, it's to make content. Like, basically, like, that's, like, the catching these weird people, that's the tail. The content is the dog. Now, you might think that it's the other way around, but it is not. They're looking for content. They're engagement farming. Yeah, exactly. They're exploiting it. And also, I respect the ones that work with law enforcement, and they try to do it the right way. So don't get me wrong. It's not like I don't think that it matters at all. But I think that the majority of them that do this stuff are doing it in a way that ends up actively hurting the cause. Do you think Vitality does it right? Vitaly or whatever his name is? I don't know enough about it to have an opinion. I don't want to pass judgment on it.
Be prosecuted. I'm working very closely with the Department of Justice to hold people accountable. This stuff ends today.
Well, look, I had Voters' Voices on the program live yesterday and was talking with people about what the first 16, at that point now 17 days of this has been like. Here's what one voter...
Yeah, no, so, and somebody, do you support the predator poachers? They don't really attack them, they just catch them? No, I don't support them in cases where they're not cooperating and working with law enforcement. So I completely support them in cases where they're working with law enforcement. I completely do not support them in cases where they're not working with law enforcement. Because in the cases where they don't work with law enforcement, they end up enabling these predators to keep going because they don't follow the proper protocol for actually putting somebody in jail.
What do you think about
It's
that?
vigilante justice. Yeah, it's a net negative. And so, like, I'm thinking of the big picture. Like, everybody likes the vindication of, like, oh, we got you, we're going to beat you up. I don't really care about that because this guy gets beat up and then he just goes home and does the same thing again. Like, my perspective is, like, how do you solve this problem and make it stop happening? And that's where I focus on. That's what I think about. And so, as long as you're working with law enforcement in a way that's congruent with, like, what their goals are, then I totally support it.
Told us.
Does that make sense? I go to Chicago and I see the immigration crisis at the forefront in front of my school on the corners. I don't think we should wait until unpopular mayors like Brandon Johnson lose their elections. Their #1 goal should be to be understood, and that's using their bully pulpit, that's advocating for the people that pay tax dollars to them. It's always, whose humanity are you looking out for, and why not us that we're paying so many tax dollars?
And that young man, one of the Democrats we had on the panel who voted for Donald Trump this time around. Your reaction?
Look, I think the American people, they President Trump mandates immigration, the border security, immigration enforcement was #1, and we're going to keep President Trump's promise. I looked at the numbers this morning. ICE has already arrested just short of 12,000 people in this country. Vast majority are
needs to be way more than that. They want to get rid of everybody. They got to do way more than that.
Of criminals, public safety threats. And that's what we're trying to do. And for any mayor or governor who doesn't want public safety threats removed from the communities, I find it hard to believe that. But we're going to do it, with or without them. If they're not going to help, get out of the way. But don't cross that line. Do not impede our operations. Do not knowingly conceal or harbor an illegal alien, because we will seek prosecution. We're going to do what the President promised American people. We're going to make our community safer by targeting those who are in the country legally that have criminal record or a public safety threat. That's what we're doing. But if you force us into the community and not let us get the bad guy into jail, that's going to put the community at risk. It means
that's AOE damage.
More collateral arrest means more non-criminals being arrested, because when we find the bad guy, which we will, there's going to be others with them. Others that may not be a criminal priority, but we're not going to struck dice to walk away from like the Biden administration did. We're going to force immigration law.
I tell you, Tom Homan, you have those gang members.
It seems hard to understand why people would obstruct activities that would make streets safer. No, it's not. It's actually really easy to understand. The reason why they do it is because they are stupid and they are ideologically captured by something that doesn't make sense. That's why.
And illegals on the run, with reports of people trying to move around the country now to get away from operations that they know
really
are coming and maybe tipping each other off. We'll see. We'll cover the stem to stern, especially as you find out what happened with those intel leaks. Thank you.
Look, Harris, we will not be happy to every single TDA member. TDA is going to be eradicated from this country. I will not rest until every one of them are in prison or at Gitmo. That's a promise I'm making to the American people.
Tom Homan, the border czar for President Trump, on it. Thank you very much.
Damn. Well, there it is. And, yeah, one of the heads seems to have a mortal wound. Well, I don't know. Oh, this is the fucking Antichrist stuff? No, guys, come on, calm down on that. And so they fantasize about combating a non-existent fascist regime. I think that there's a lot of people, and this is the same reason why, like, a lot of these... Like, one of the things that I noticed with a lot of the, what do you call it? A lot of the protesters for a lot of these, like, really kind of, like, weird luxury causes is that they're upper middle class, affluent, often white people. And I think that these are people that live a life of, like, absolute and complete, like, privilege. And I think they realize that, and they know that about themselves. and they're looking for a way that they can make themselves like
matter.
Like, I think that they have a guilt for it, and so they're looking for a way that they can make themselves victims.
Hello, I'm the Nostalgia Critic. I remember it so you don't have to. And welcome to Blanchett 101. That's disgusting. You ever have one of those pesky ideas that seems unique, original, and charmingly inventive? Don't you just hate those? Why can't we make something that's tired and dated, with no originality whatsoever? Why can't it be more like Blank Check? For you see, Blank Check is the height of cinematic blandness, taking a relatively clever and new idea and sucking all the creativity out of it so that it becomes a forgettable piece of nothing, leaving no impression at all. How could any film accomplish such an incredible feat? Well, let's watch this pathetic piece of ass droppings to find out. Now, most films would begin with a unique way of showing their title, trying to distinguish itself and give it its own style. But not Blank Check, they just show it. My god, is that uninventive? As if to say, really your ticket stub is the only written title you need for this film? Anything else would just be an extravagance. We see a criminal named Quigley escape from prison and get a briefcase of money that he hid while he was put away. We then cut to our main character named Preston.
Dad, I've given this some thought, and I've decided that...
Why, I think he's really talking to his dad. That's why we're in this tight, uncomfortable shot that doesn't show his father, right? Why else would they obviously frame this in such an awkward way? Oh, it's a goldfish. You see, this trick has been used a dozen times in other films, but that just adds to the blandness that Blank Check has to offer. I sure hope there's more to be unimpressed by.
Out of the way, stick boy.
Oh, there is! Two obnoxious brothers who like to pick on him all the time. You mean we get two unintelligent bullies that have no human emotion outside of just being a stereotypical teen antagonist? It must be my birthday!
Hey, this is my life savings!
Consider yourself our silent partner.
So apparently Preston is upset because his father treats his brothers better because they're trying to start their own business, and Preston hasn't yet. Even though he's like 7.
They need the space for their business.
My space.
Well, young man in this family industry gets rewarded. See, while you're in here playing, your brothers are hard at work.
Surprise. Whoa, check it out.
Preston, maybe you could teach your brothers how to use it.
Oh, and did I mention that he's the only one who knows how to operate a computer? Yeah, the two brothers who want to start their own business don't know how to operate a computer. More bullshit, please!
Damien and Ralph sleep but to face. But to face.
Who said
but
that?
to face.
Type quick.
But to face.
It's
but
late.
to face.
Go turn it
but
off.
to face.
We can't let a computer that nobody outside this room can hear talk smack about us!
Face.
Ow. Don't rub it, be a man.
What?
Face.
Ow. Don't rub it, be a man.
Don't rub it, be a man. Yeah, I had that t-shirt growing up too. So Preston is invited to a birthday party of a kid who doesn't like him. I'm not sure how that works. As the kid greets Preston in a classic manner.
It's Presto the Pesto!
Oh, that's right! Always trust Disney to be 20 years behind what's currently popular. Personally, I would prefer the Psych Hitler. So because his cheap-ass father gave him such little money, he only gets to ride the dorky rides while all the other kids get to enjoy the larger rides. Proving that money is the only thing to make you truly happy.
You need some cash?
Nah, we got a bunch of change.
It's not fair. Why can't I have anything?
Well, Preston, they have jobs and they've learned to save.
How can I save money if I don't have it?
A penny saved is a penny earned.
Douche! Meanwhile, the Quigley guy goes to visit an old friend who's an owner of a bank. It turns out his bills are marked, so he's gonna send in a guy named Juice to get new ones. Why can't he just get them now? Because this is Blanchett 101! I love that title screen. So Preston goes to the bank to see if he can deposit just $11 when we're introduced to the hot chick of the movie.
Can you see okay?
Oh, yeah, sure. I would like to open an account, please.
$11. Do you have any other money you'd like to deposit, Mr. Waters?
I'd like to make a deposit in your skirt. Yeah, that's what I meant.
I'm afraid we have a minimum balance. It's $200.
$200?
Whenever you're ready, please come back and see me, okay? My name's Shay Stanley.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I sure hope I can buy you at the end of this movie. So Preston gets his bike run over by the Quigley guy, who sees a cop and forgets to write out the amount in the check to cover the injury. So you think his folks would be relieved that he's okay, right? Not in the impractical world of Blanchett 101.
I thought we understood about taking care of our valuables.
It was a piece of junk.
Well, if that's how you feel about a gift from your parents, I don't see giving you a new one for your birthday.
I don't want a new bike. I want my own room.
I'm warning you, you're on thin ice as it is about the bike.
What I want is my own house.
That's it, young man. Until further notice, you're grounded.
That'll teach him to almost get run over. I almost had to summon an emotion there. So Preston realizes that he has the blank check and decides to put it to good use. Good old-fashioned criminal use.
$1 million.
Did the film score just gasp? So he tries to deposit the check but gets called into the head of the bank because they don't believe him.
We have a little problem here.
What is it, Mrs. Udowitz?
Someone thinks this is some kind of game.
I see. Is there much of a line out there, Mrs. Udowitz?
Yes, we're swamped.
Now, what are you doing here? Please.
Is it me, or is the actor playing the head of the bank the same actor who's playing the female teller? Could they do that back then?
Juice?
No thanks, I'm not thirsty.
That's right, he mistakes the kid for juice. You see, all adults are friggin' idiots in Blanchett 101, especially in kids' films. However, it turns out the real Juice is downstairs asking to see the head of the bank as well.
Look, my name is Juice, and I got something right here, and I wonder if you'd be so kind enough as to cash it for me.
Okay, who is this guy anyway? He seems to pop up in my reviews all the time. He was the non-surfing brother in Surf Ninjas, the horny singing lizard in Ferngully, and now he's a con man in this. Stop following me, strange man with kind of cool voice! Or Tone Lock, whatever the hell your name is!
Oh, excuse me, sweetie. What's wrong with you, little boy?
I'm sorry.
Now, you know you ought to be in school.
Don't make me sing about how I'm gonna eat ya.
If I'm gonna eat somebody.
So the bank guy finds out he's been had as the kid first decides to buy a friggin' castle with the money he just got. And wouldn't you know it, the Quigley guy is trying to buy it too. That's a smart escaped convict, trying to draw as little attention to himself and keep a low profile by living in a castle.
Hello?
Good afternoon. I'd like to make a cash offer on your house.
Well, I'm a total moron, so continue.
I have an offer on the table of 300.
We'll take it. Here's what things are. What is your name?
My name is Macintosh.
Well, congratulations, Mr. McIntosh.
I think you mean Mr. Product Plug.
You have a house.
So Preston uses all his money claiming that it belongs to a fictional guy named Macintosh. But wait a minute, this movie almost has a creative premise going. Surely there must be some way we can make it more conventional. How about a comic relief limo driver? There we go. And make sure not one word of his dialogue is funny.
I'm waiting for a client here.
But I'm your client.
Oh, right, yeah. And I'm Madonna. If you want to ride in this, you need some buckaroos, buccarinis, some moolah, some dinero, some money, some frog skins, much similar to the money you've given me. In fact, identical to the money you've given me right now. I was just kidding about being Madonna.
I love comedy relief that provides no comedy or relief. But wait, don't bland, uninventive comedies need to have mindless montages? Oh yeah, the movie's styling now! Oh, did I mention that the limo driver is along for the ride too? I don't think he invited him along or anything. He just started coming with. It's okay, they're rich. Ah, gee, this story seems way too simple. Isn't there some way we can make it needlessly complicated? Well, it turns out that attractive banker is actually not a banker at all. She's an FBI agent, trying to find the money that Quigley stole before. That seems totally unneeded and implausible. Way to shitty it up, movie. I almost enjoyed a few seconds there.
Hey, you know this guy, what is it, McIntyre? Ah, McIntosh, yeah. Why does he get a kid like you to go out and buy all this stuff for him?
He never had a real childhood, so now that he's really, really rich, he could have all the fun that he couldn't have when he was a kid.
Sounds like a modern-day Michael Jackson to me. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm personally glad to have made the first Michael Jackson joke since he died. I miss the man, we all do. But the time has come to laugh again. Laugh at the oddness, laugh at the strange behavior. Don't let the fear of bad taste hold you back. You see, Michael Jackson was an odd person. Very, very odd person. But the reason we can still laugh at him is because he was also something that we can never take away. A genius. Don't be afraid, people. No matter how hard you laugh, he will always be a genius. I'm the Nostalgia Critic. The time has come to laugh once more. Anyway, Preston comes across Shay, the FBI agent, who doesn't question at all that a kid is riding in a limo and suddenly has money now.
So, I'm thinking about coming into the bank tomorrow and opening my account.
Wow, you got the $200 already?
Just about.
All right, well, see you tomorrow. Bye. Bye.
J. Edgar Hoover, she ain't. So he orders a bunch of product placements as a ton of adjustments are made to the castle and his douche dad is none the wiser.
Yeah, who is McIntosh?
I work for him. He's paying me.
Yeah, but who is he? I never met him.
I mean, you haven't met him?
No, I haven't met him.
He's heard about you.
Really?
Ah! A couple seconds of development and explanation! Aren't there any crappy montages we can cut to? Here we go. That's right, bring on the needless padding. Continue to film scenes that are only made for the trailer. You know, I'm starting to wonder if you can really get this much for $1 million. I mean, I know it's a lot, but I don't even think Donald Trump could have a house like this. So Shay starts to think there's something suspicious about Mr. McIntosh. No, you think? So Preston convinces her to go on a date where he assures her that Mr. McIntosh will appear. Henry, the limo driver, gives him some pointers. Uh-oh, I smell hilarious quirkiness coming up.
I'm gonna tell you about the real deal on dating, which I know, okay? First of all, women love a great body. They love, look at this bod. Whoa, see, you know, of course, you know, you got a bod now that's of a Greek god, really. Think about it. I mean, women like you to have a good bod because they want to feel they're protected. You might have to fight some guy, you know? But not with those arms. You don't want to hit a guy with those arms because those pythons would take a guy's head off. That all-you-can-eat salad bar? Women love that. Take some with you, you know? Line your pockets with plastic bags. Put the food in there because it doesn't say all you can eat here. Does it say here on the side? I don't think so.
I apologize. There was clearly nothing funny in there. I quite frankly don't know what that scene was about. So Preston lets his family know that he's going out to help McIntosh again, even though he's grounded.
McIntosh may have a pile of money, but he doesn't decide when my son is or isn't grounded.
Grounded. So much for Plan 442.
What do you know about Plan 442?
I didn't want to say it, but I told Mr. McIntosh about your Plan 442, and he was very, very interested. Yep, I promised him I'd bring a copy of it tonight and show it to him.
Let me get you a fresh copy of the prospectus.
No, I'll get a copy of it, sweetheart.
It's good to know that this movie is teaching young kids that love can be bought.
No! You ruined everything. He has a date tonight, and he's very nervous about it. Might be up pretty late. This woman.
Lucky dog.
And they're officially more dysfunctional than the Manson family. He dresses up in a suit that even the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air would find a bit much as our 7-year-old hero tries to wine and dine a 20-something-year-old FBI agent.
Mr. McIntosh is very interested in you.
He is?
He's never met anybody like you before.
He's never met me before, period.
Technically, no, but he's been thinking a lot about you lately.
Kid, you haven't hit puberty yet. Girls are just cootie-filled growth magnets at that point. Oh, and the world's greatest FBI agent still doesn't catch on that there's something weird about the fact that she's dating a kid right now. Perhaps we could analyze this and understand why neither of their motivations match their characters. But not in Bland Shit 101. It's been over 2 minutes. How about some lame jokes?
Is he an entrepreneur?
No, he's American.
Good, good! And since there's clearly no interest in developing our characters, let's end with a pratfall. Oh, Blank Check. Your quest for cinematic forgetfulness is beyond compare. So, still benign to the whole dating a kid thing, Preston takes her to a spot that he knows she'll enjoy.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, wet woman. So even though he's gotten wet what is probably a very expensive outfit, she just seems to laugh and giggle throughout the whole thing. Okay, I'm not a woman, but if I was, I would deck the little bastard. But she may not have to as the criminals spot Preston and try to nab it. Alright, Blanchett 101, get ready for wah-wah music and shrug in 3, 2, 1...
He got away again! I don't believe this! He got away again!
Oh hey, I guess the banker guy was so upset he fell back to the ground in a jump cut. I sure hope they don't get wet again. Ooh! So did Preston's plan to embarrass himself and ruin her outfit work in his favor?
I had such a good time.
Me too.
Good night, Preston.
Good night, Shay.
Ooh, the high five of shame. It's one thing if they hug you or try to shake your hand, but a high five? That's gotta hurt. So the crooks find that one bratty kid and force him to tell them where they can find Preston.
Why don't you just tell me what I need to know?
Round numbers.
I don't think you get the picture, Sonny. You need a better view.
Preston Waters, 1508 Oak Street, Hillsdale, Indiana.
Thank God you just cut to that picture of the same building instead of dangling me off it, or else I would have really been scared. So Preston says he's gonna have a birthday party for Macintosh when it's really his birthday. So he finds out that he's actually spent all the money and can't pay for the party. Just at the same point where the father comes in and, of course, mistakes him for Macintosh.
You don't have kids, do you, Mr. McIntosh? Well, I'll tell you, it's very easy to make mistakes with them. I haven't always paid enough attention to my kids.
I feel like I never see my kids, even when they're right in front of me.
I'm afraid he's missing out on his childhood. So am I.
This speech is terrible.
We appreciate you sending Preston home early.
After his dad leaves, he sends everybody home and waits in the castle by himself, where, of course, the bad guys arrive. So some burglars are trying to break into a place, and there's just one lone kid there to defend it. What's that movie that everybody was trying to rip off at that point in time? Oh, Home Alone! And I just so happen to have the Home Alone rip-off checklist right here. Let's get marking. Impractical trap foiled by unimaginably stupid villains? Check! Gratuitous shot to the crotch resulting in cartoony sound effects? Check! Unfunny dialogue hoping to be turned into an obnoxious catchphrase?
That must have hurt.
Check! Oh, will the hilarious moments ever stop? Ripping off other hilarious moments? So of course the bad guys catch up with him and are about to make him pay. This looks like a job for a predictable conclusion. Bring in the cops who just so happen to show up at the right time.
FBI, Biederman.
So the bad guys get arrested as Preston tries to see if there's any future for him and Shay.
So when can I see you again, Shay?
Why don't you give me a call and say about 10 years?
5.
7.
6.
Okay.
What?
It's a date.
No. No.
Oh my God! Don't touch! Stop arresting that Kazam guy! We have lip-to-lip contact here! Hurry! So Preston goes home not to an angry house of parents who should rightfully punish him, but to a birthday cake to celebrate another year on this planet. So I guess the moral of the story is bad deeds always go unpunished and money is the root of all happiness. But really, would you expect any other message from the Disney Corporation? So now you know how to turn your creative, charming little idea into an unimaginative, depraved piece of forgettable, bland shit. Just watch Blank Check as a reference and you'll do fine. And now I'd like to turn off my calm, pleasant teaching demeanor in order to show you what I really think about this movie.
Fuck you all!
Whew, whew. I feel much better. I'm the Nostalgia Critic.
There's been these huge protests. Huge protests.
Protests on behalf of Mexico have broken out across Los Angeles, completely blocking the busy 101 freeway.
Look at this. This is insane.
Surrounding the unlucky commuters caught in the middle.
What are they doing, man? Where is the police? They gotta get the police in here to stop this shit. You deport them all? I mean, most of these people are just citizens, right? I mean, they're citizens causing trouble. Like, they're not illegals. I mean, because that's not how it works. Like, I know that that's the way some liberals see it, is that, you know, like, oh, well, if you deport Mexicans or illegal immigrants, you're not going to have any more tacos. Like, every person from fucking, that's Hispanic heritage is an illegal immigrant. No, most of these people probably went to school in LA, were born in LA, their parents were in LA. That's it. So, no, that's not how it works.
As we're now seeing flags from everywhere of the places they allegedly don't want to be.
Yeah.
So downtown LA is brought to a standstill in every direction, and local law enforcement has now called it non-permitted.
Yeah,
and
no
when
shit.
the police finally did arrive, it took them until night to actually do anything.
See, they gotta take some of these people, like, what I think the police should do is they should, like, kind of do, like a musical chairs thing or something like that, where, like, every 5 people, or, like, maybe, I'm trying to think of a good way to say it, right? Like tic-tac-toe, something like that, where, like, you just randomly pick out people, and then, like, you go and you, like, put them in jail for a long time for this. And I bet if you did that for a few times, and, like, you really prosecuted them kind of at random for, like, all of them committing the crime, it would stop this from happening. Duck, duck, goose. Yeah, exactly. Duck, duck, goose. There you go. No protesting allowed. This is blocking traffic. Like, if your protest obstructs... If you protest in a public space, your right to protest does not supersede other people's right to freely move between places. If you're obstructing somebody's movement, that's violence. And so that's not the way it works. Now, if you get a permit, that's okay. If they had a permit, it's fine. But I don't think they had a permit because they said it wasn't permitted, which means they didn't have a permit. They have bills to pay, man? Yeah, exactly. Like, it's fine. You want to stand on the side of the road and yell at people, that's okay. That's totally okay. But if you get in the street and you're trying to stop people from driving, well, you can't. The reason why public spaces exist is so the public can use them and have access to them. So if you take over a public space and then you deny people access and usage of that public space, that's a problem. I don't even understand why. It's so fucking obvious, right? Now you don't like free speech? I didn't know free speech was standing in the middle of the highway. So free speech is standing in the middle of the highway now, guys. I had no idea. That's a wow. That's crazy. We're gonna go. We're gonna go.
Until LAPD deployed the tactical shaman.
The tactical shaman?
And then the protesters immediately retook the freeway. I'm so sick of seeing this type of protest that I honestly think everybody on that freeway needs to see 6 months in county. This whole culture.
I agree. I completely fucking agree. Absolutely fucking based. I am so sick of these fucking people. They are so annoying. Yes.
Of whenever activists get upset, they're just allowed to hold the citizens captive has to stop. And if you
fucking thank you. I love this guy. Holy fuck, I love this guy. Absolutely. I hate these people. Yeah, they're blocking ambulances. Well, they're blocking anybody, right? And even if you don't block ambulances directly, you do block them indirectly by creating traffic that the ambulances have to navigate around. So like the way it's basically a domino effect with traffic. So even if they let ambulances go through when the ambulance gets there, it still took the ambulance a lot longer to get there. Most protests let ambulances through though. It doesn't matter though. Because what I'm saying is that when a protest like that creates a massive amount of traffic, it makes it to where the city cannot function. And also the road doesn't work the way it's supposed to. Like, have you guys ever been in traffic and you saw an ambulance and the ambulance can't get around people because there's so many cars on the road? That's what these protests do.
Haven't already, make sure you're subscribed for more clips like
Completely
this, because
fucking
I
agree with
left
this
that
guy.
stupid city, as whenever a war broke out overseas,
It's
they
insane.
had to stop all freeways. The Supreme
Yep.
Court returns a decision back to the states, which will
Mm-hmm.
have zero impact on California. Block that same freeway. A guy dies across the country and you want to blame all cops everywhere? Guess nobody gets to go to work today. Or basically anytime the orange man does something, feel free to unlawfully
Yeah, this
block.
is insane. Like, you can't just block the road. This isn't about freedom of speech. It's about freedom to assemble. I mean, like, if we're talking about people standing in the middle of the highway. What are we doing? What are we talking about? These people standing in the middle of the highway shutting down traffic. That's not how it works.
Me in my vehicle. And notice
Yeah.
in all four of those protests, none of the signs, shouting, or social
Bros, the
media
Avengers?
posts
Yeah.
accomplished a single thing. And yet, the police seem to conveniently look the other way when actually sentencing these idiots to any significant time behind bars.
And that's the reason why they keep doing it. That's the exact reason. They keep doing it because they're getting away with it. And the moment that people like this have consequences, it immediately goes away.
I can guarantee you, if they gave them their disbursement orders, and the remaining 50 idiots on the freeway refused to take their protests peacefully to the pedestrian sidewalk, then they got locked up and lost 6 months of their life in the Twin Towers Correctional Facility, suddenly nobody will think blocking the 101 is such a good idea anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. You put a few people in jail for this and it stops.
And is this an insanely harsh punishment? Of course it is. But it's not like they're randomly picking out activists from a list to make an example out of them. We're just setting up a system called consequences, aka the justice system. So hopefully Los Angeles can rediscover it someday. And it's bad enough they're waving the flags of a country they're protesting.
Yeah, no, that's it. What do you say? The argument that following the rules is not disruptive and therefore no one cares about your cause? Well, I think that if you feel like you are justified to break the rules, then there's really no like I don't think that there's a big difference between standing in a highway and then destroying property. I think that these are both violent acts, and like also obstructing people's movement is also a violent act. So when you give people the ability, this is the problem, and this is why you have to have rules, is that if your viewpoint is that any protest that disrupts things is good, and so disruption is good, then you would logically assume that any crime committed in the purpose and in the goal of fulfilling a disruption would also be good, naturally. Because it's not like the only way to disrupt the world is to stand in the road. You can disrupt things 50 other ways too. So what makes that way okay and the other way not okay? Well, you can't draw the line anywhere. You can't. And so the problem is that when you use that logic can be applied to people, and everybody is going to have a different interpretation of what that logic means. And some people's interpretation is going to be disruptive and could get people killed. And so that's why you can't have thinking that works that way. Do you see kind of what I'm saying about that? You see how that makes sense? That's how you get Luigi supporters? Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the way that Luigi thought about things too. And that's why permits for protesting are supposed to be peaceful even when they are disruptive? Yeah, exactly. And people do get permits to protest in certain places, and it does disrupt things, but that disruption is sanctioned by the government.
being sent to, but also burning the flag of the country they're demanding they stay in. What a confusing worldview to have. It's always America bad, but simultaneously, I demand to live in only America. As all the way down to the border in San Diego, they're also blocking the streets for the same protest. Almost everywhere in Southern California is simply allowing this to happen, as if there's some sort of acceptable level of stopping the streets, when it should be zero, because when this is just allowed, it's only a matter of time before an ambulance gets stuck on the freeway, or like what we saw in Texas, an Uber driver ends up popping a protester. As over in Idaho, we're already seeing Americans fighting these forces flying foreign flags.
This is the problem, right? Is that you have this happen, and then you have these disruptions and these interactions, and then they get violent. This is why you need to have police, is to prevent things from people from getting hurt. That's it. First Amendment entails peaceful assembly? Yeah, of course it is. What if your government is corrupt and this is the only way to protest? I think that if you're in a monarchy or something like that, like, you know, that's I feel like if you don't have a representative government, protesting with violence makes a lot more sense because you can't do anything else besides that. But we do have a representative government. These people aren't mad that they aren't getting represented. They're mad that they lost. It's like, imagine every time that we have a vote and then people lose the vote and they shut down all the fucking highways. Can't have that.
I guess I'm not leaving as soon as I thought.
And not even the cops are safe, as in Salem, Oregon, they began smacking his squad car.
Oh. Uh-oh. I don't think they're doing anything like super wrong. Like, they're not really hitting the car or anything. Deport? Yeah, you cannot have this shit. Yeah, you can't have this.
And again, all of this.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Like, yeah, you can't let people do this. Yeah, what is this? Like, yeah, it's insane. They need to be rounded up or removed permanently? No, I don't think you need to hurt them or anything. All you need to do is take a few of them, put them in jail, and say, listen, you keep doing it, we're going to put more of you in jail, and then before you know it, it stops happening. Really? It's that simple. It is. It's that easy. Like, it goes away so fast as soon as people feel consequences.
It was right all along? What the fuck?
Need assistance?
Yeah, that's it. It fucking pisses me off so much, missing regular folks' lives. Yeah, no, I hate people like this. I think it makes, and I actually think it hurts their cause, because I think that a lot of normal people see this as bullying. Like, they see like 20 people crowding around a person's car who's just trying to drive down the highway, and they're like hitting the person's car. I think that they see it as like basically bullying and like not really terrorism, but like intimidation.
Can be fixed if everybody that vandalized that police vehicle got the book thrown at them.
Yeah, exactly.
It might not be Munson County, but whatever appropriate fine actually being applied would be a decent start, as these people genuinely think there are absolutely no consequences to not only brazenly breaking our laws, but recording, posting, and boasting about nobody being able to stop them. And at this
that's because they won't stop them. What about people start figuring your income, they stop? What about MAGA when Trump lost at the Capitol? Why don't you go back to 2021 when I talked about the January 6th stuff, and you'll see what my opinion was on it. It's been consistent the entire time.
Test is to convince us that they should be allowed to stay. It's not working. It's just reassuring us that this needs to happen, as the argument against it is it's making all these workers not show up to their jobs.
Ya toda la gente que trabajaba aquí, unos están espantados, no quieren venir a trabajar, otros ya se los llevó migración y así es como los negocios empiezan a quebrar.
No immigrants gives you this.
I think that, you know what this should mean? I think this is a really great argument for holding these companies accountable for employing people without checking their credentials and making sure that they were citizens. Like, if they were willfully and intentionally hiring illegal immigrants, I feel like this Chipotle, wherever the fuck this is, needs to pay a big fine. Yeah, when does that happen? Because, like, I don't like how... Because you got to keep in mind, like, you think about it, like, why do illegal immigrants, illegal aliens come over? Well, they come over because these companies are hiring them. So the companies are the carrot. I don't blame the people who are coming over. Like, if I lived in Mexico, I would try to illegally come to the U.S. too. Because, like, it's better here than it is over there. Or, like, wherever they're coming from in South America. Sure, I understand it. But these companies are the real beneficiaries. And they're the ones that are creating the carrot that causes all the people to come here.
Whole bunks of mad faces and dishes stacked and nothing ready.
I mean, to be fair, this could just be Chipotle.
This is just
day,
like how their
but,
movement simultaneously argues, America bad, but don't make me leave. This is the same side that shrieks over low wages and a housing crisis. But if all these legitimate businesses are suddenly seeing 90 to 100% of their workforce disappear due to illegitimate citizenship, it seems like we might have...
Then they have an illegitimate business. If the only way that your business can make money is if you don't pay people a working wage and you only hire people under the table to avoid paying other types of fees, then you don't have a viable business. It's that simple.
A lot more people here than should be. And you know what depresses wages? Importing cheap labor. You know what creates a housing crisis? Importing millions more into an area with a finite amount of housing. And of course, both of those have solutions that can alleviate the issues, but it's like they're literally trying to argue both sides of the coin. And their only solution is to give the government more of our money because somehow that will solve anything. But finally, Trump was elected and immediately began militarizing our border.
Thanks fucking God. The businesses should be reported for tax evasion? Yeah, no, they should. And I think also the people that intentionally did it themselves, I think that you need to have, this is a very, maybe this is a super strong viewpoint, but I think it's true. I think that you need to have individual accountability for actual people that work at the companies that did the wrong things. Because the problem is that a lot of times when a company gets held accountable, it's like this abstract punishment that doesn't really matter. It's just basically it's an accounting problem. But when you actually take people and you put them on the line and their head can be on the chopping block for like going to jail for something like this, then, especially if they're doing it knowingly, obviously if you can prove that they're doing it knowingly, it's much different. Then you can, then I think you need to hold them accountable. Every hour, every HR department gets arrested? I don't know about that. Yeah, it's cheap labor. Yeah, no doubt.
Can you assess your work so far?
Well, look, I looked at the numbers this morning, Maria. The crossings on the border are down 93%. President Trump is a game changer. No one has had the success he's had on securing the border. He clearly understands we can't have strong national security if we don't have border security. We need to know who's coming in, what's coming in, where it's coming in, why it's coming in. And we have achieved a success on the border already. We got more work to do. And on top of that, as far as the deportation operation, we're just shy of, I think we got 5,000 already arrested the first week.
This is kind of crazy here that the cartels authorize the use of weaponized drones, explosives against CBP personnel and U.S. law enforcement down there at the...
I'm sure that's going to work out really well for them. Yeah, I'm sure that's gonna end very well.
Southern border.
Yeah.
Now they're actually being encouraged, of course, to remain cognizant and vigilant, but they're also being encouraged to use their long arms, Blake. I have never seen this in a CBP memo before. They say, wear your ballistic gear, yes.
This got out of hand so fast that the normie liberal activist doesn't even realize they're flying the flag of the forces that may be going to war with our military. As throwing a brick through a Starbucks for social justice is one thing, but being seen as an enemy combatant might put them in an entirely different category. But hopefully it doesn't come down to that. And one last thing. As this so-called deportation document is spreading through social media, where many men are memeing and changing their minds about the whole...
Look, I mean, I'm not saying that he's totally wrong.
situation. But this isn't even a good hoax, as you should have been able to spot that even without the AI
Wait,
detector.
it's fake?
I know it was
Oh my
mostly jokes,
God.
but we gotta be better than that. So if you appreciate my concise, lighthearted commentary on the tragic
Yeah,
status
never
that is
mind.
today's reality, hopefully I've earned
She's
your
not
subscription,
real.
and we
Wouldn't
can
be
chat
the
again
first
soon.
time. Yeah, it's crazy to see these people do it, man. It really is. And I don't know what the fuck to say. They aren't SJWs, they're terrorist sympathizers. I mean, I just think that it's really simple. You just can't let people get in the middle of the road and impede traffic and stop people from going around. I mean, if you have a public space, you're entitled to be able to protest in that public space. But if that protest takes away other people's ability to use the public space, then now you have a problem. I think that most people would be totally fine if these people were just sitting around on like the side. Like, you know, for example, like you see some of these people that are on the edge here, like that doesn't matter. Like you can do whatever you want. But like if you're going around and you're stopping cars and you're causing people to not be able to go where they want to go, that's a huge problem. And you can't have people doing that. It's a mob, it's not protesting. Yeah, exactly. And so still want them deported? Well, a lot of these people are citizens, right? I mean, they're not all illegal aliens. I mean, like, I feel like that'd be a pretty big self-report. So yeah, they get a better response if they weren't disrupting normal people. Yeah, definitely. I'll read a few comments to this. Protesting should be like no inconvenience to anyone. That's like gonna totally change something. Well, it's really simple. It's that if your idea of a protest is breaking the law and preventing people from using public spaces in an unlawful and unpermitted way, then you just can't have that.
You knew it.
You can't have that. You can't allow people to break the law in the way that they please in order to fulfill whatever goal that they think that they have. And I know there's a lot of people that want to be able to do that. Sure, you want, so January 6th is okay. Yeah, exactly. They're intentionally being obstructive. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Protests been tainted by BLM Summer of Love. That was a crazy time. It was. Do you think if they had American flags instead of Mexican flags, they'd gain more support? They'd just get different hate from different people, like January 6th. Like, I mean, I feel like all this stuff is bad. Doesn't really matter who's doing it. It's always bad. If it was okay to break the law anytime you disagree with the government, you might as well have no laws at all. Yeah, exactly. It's just crazy. Are there examples of successful protests without disruption? I don't know. I'm sure you can have some examples of it. I mean, I'm sure there's... I would say, you know, you want to know one example is an election. That's an example of a successful protest. So, like, when somebody runs for office and then they don't get reelected, they've just been effectively protested against. That's the way that it works. So, if you want to have... if you want to have a protest, then you vote. That's the way the system works. You don't just get to like burn down the system and say, oh yeah, well this isn't working for me right now at this very moment, so we're just going to destroy everything. That's not how it works. That's crazy. There's the video right there. That's nonsense. I don't know. Like, in my opinion, I feel like anybody who justifies this kind of behavior, I think that they don't realize what they're really justifying at all. And I think that this type of behavior justification leads to more Luigis. And I think also there's going to be people that are going to say, oh, well, that's good. But there's also going to be Marios as well. And, you know, Luigi might wear a green hat. There'll be Marios wearing red hats too. And you might not like Mario or Wario. And so the fact is that when you just give people a blank check to just do whatever you want, if you feel like you have the right to protest, you're going to have people destroying everything. Blocking traffic, no, but voting is your only option. That's kind of off too. You have a lot of options in order to protest, but when your protest obstructs people's movement in public spaces and you don't have a permit for it, you're committing a crime and you need to go to jail. It's really just that simple. I don't think that there's really a lot of thinking involved with this or a lot of complexities involved with this. I think it's really just that simple. It's the non-aggression principle. It is. Protests are meant to be inconvenient for people in government as it brings attention to the issue. All this form of protesting does is detract from the message they're advocating for. Yeah, sure. And no, I'm saying like a protest on the side with peacefully American flags. They're happy to enter the country instead of flying Mexican flags. I feel like there are some cases where that probably would be true too. But I don't know. I think that more and more people are feeling like
they just want to see people like this put in jail. And I totally agree with them, and I totally support it. And I hope that the government does start calling in, you know, like I don't know if they can do National Guard for something like this, right? But just totally getting rid of these people. Yeah, I hate people like this. I hate their entire mentality. I hate how self-righteous they are. I hate everything about them. And so whatever basically fucks them over is what I would support.
Have you ever been bullied? I'm assuming all of you said yes to that because pretty much everyone in the world at some point in their lives has been made fun of for something. But if you're someone who said no, you're most likely a liar. Or the coolest person on the planet, you're very fortunate. God bless you, I suppose. But I think what very few of us have experienced is being bullied by the person who gave us life.
I am so pissy today.
This lady who kicks off this rant with a Chewbacca screech is an OnlyFans model who has a child. And she's about to go on this big spiel about how her child being sick at school has cock-blocked her. And she just starts insulting her own flesh and blood.
I had to come up here. I had to come up here at fucking 11 o'clock in the afternoon. That's prime time. That's prime time. If you know what I mean.
She goes non-verbal there for a moment and starts spamming Fortnite emotes. But don't worry, I'm picking up what she's putting down here. So she's complaining that she's now had to go all the way out here at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, which immediately is news to me. I didn't know 11 o'clock made it to the afternoon. Feels like it probably shouldn't meet that criteria, but who am I to question such an intellectual? But she's upset because apparently 11 o'clock is prime time coitus. Which again, very enlightening information for me. My third eye is being forced open here to the truth. 11 o'clock feels like it'd be one of the most inconvenient times to schedule your fucking bedroom ham sandwich appointments. It feels like that's right in like the middle of the workday for a lot of normal people. It's also just generally early for such debauchery. But who am I to be questioning this? She's upset because it's now intruded upon her having sex. And now she's inconvenienced and she's irate.
But listen, so that's partly why I'm cranky, but I'm cranky because my child is 10. I had to come up to the school and I had to pick him up. Why? Why did I have to fucking pick this kid up? I had to pick this kid up because he's a man, okay? He's a little man and he's got a weak ass stomach like fucking most men do.
She gets so heated that her eyes start going cross during this. He's not a little man. He's a little kid. He's 10 years old. He's a boy. And he was puking. It makes sense that the school would call the mother to come pick up the kid because he puked a few times. Can you imagine being the kid and seeing your mom just flaming you online in a viral rant? Like, that's gotta be downright diabolical to experience. Especially if, like, his classmates see it. That'll just be infinite ammunition to use against him anytime they want to make him feel bad. Just bring up that his mom insults him publicly online. It also feels so weird hearing his actual mother refer to him as this kid. That's like something you used to say on Xbox Live during some Call of Duty shit talking. Oh, this kid's just fucking camping, noob-tube one-man army, coward. Like, I don't know why she, like, harbors such disdain for him here over something he can't control. Puking.
So somebody busted ass in the library. He threw up not one time, not two times, but 3 times in the library. Literally the nurse calls and she's like, you're gonna have to come pick up your son because he just vomited 3 times in the library, like Exorcist style, all over the place. Why? He's not even sick. Some kid farted next to him and he said that it made his stomach feel bad.
She tries to channel her inner Jim Carrey here for the comedy of the video. And I'm not entirely sure if this is real or not, this story she's telling, or if she's just trying to put on some kind of performance. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you try and dilute cringe, it's still cringe. The result will be the same here. She does have a child, and you are using him as the punchline of your joke, assuming this is all just a made-up story. And if anyone in his schools, from his class, sees this, they will undoubtedly make fun of him for it, because you are making fun of him. I remember when I was growing up, I used to get made fun of for being short, or actually there was a period in 4th grade where there was one guy in particular who used to make fun of me for having really red lips, so he called me Lipstick Boy. He was the only one that made fun of me in that manner, but for some reason that really struck a chord and it made me feel terrible. I couldn't imagine then going home and like hopping on TikTok and seeing my mom be like, my son just fucking puked 3 times because someone let out a stinky fart. What a weak boy, what a weak little man, and it makes me upset because I was about to fuck. I was about to have some naughty sex, and now I've got my stupid son who needs to get picked up from school. What a waste of time and what a waste of space that kid is. It's like, Jesus, that would hurt on such an unbelievably profound level. It would actually hurt more if this is a fake story. Like, Mom, why are you lying about me just to dunk on me for internet points? Like, Jesus, why are you treating me like a punching bag? And, of course, I'd go into school the next day afraid, looking over my own shoulder like every step of the way down the hallway, wondering who's going to insult me if they happen to see my mom's viral video.
So I have to interrupt my day because some kid's got a rank asshole? That's a new kind of skip block. What? That's some bullshit. And I was like, does he have to pick it up? Like, can it be like an hour? Can we like work something out? And he was like, he needs to be picked up immediately because he threw up.
I really don't get why she tries to censor herself. So instead of saying cock block, she just puts up the C and then like, I don't know, stop sign. I actually don't really know what that was. Fucking force push at the camera. But like she does like mouth the words cock block, and I don't know why she doesn't just say it with her whole chest. She says bullshit, she says fuck. Like, it's not as though she's censoring bad words or anything. So what is the point in all of these huge, exaggerated Pixar animation gestures when talking about you having to leave getting piped to pick up your kid? I don't really understand the point of that.
He threw up because he has a weak stomach. What about the kid who busted ass so fucking bad that he cleared out an entire goddamn library? That seems like a problem. He seems like he should get some medical attention. Not my kid.
Busted ass doesn't mean what you think it means, lady. It doesn't refer to farting, it refers to falling and hurting yourself. That's when you bust ass. What you're looking for, what you're trying to use, is ripping ass. Ripping ass is what you're trying to describe here. You're not even using the correct terminology. You're not using the preferred scientific nomenclature to refer to this incident.
Not my kid who's just got a weak stomach. Damn. It's not, I'm gonna Kool-Aid Man through the side of a wall today. That's what I'm gonna do. Yep, I'm gonna do because I'm pent up and I got a lot of aggression.
Here's what I think. I think at some level this story has true elements, but it's embellished for the sake of her being able to exaggerate because she thought it would make for a silly video that TikTok would gobble up. But I don't know why she thought it would go over well. At the core of this story she's telling, it's she's having sex, has to stop having sex because her child is puking at school, and she's insulting her child for that. It's a horrible look for you. This is not a story you'd ever share if it was true, because it would be embarrassing and make you look like an very uncaring mom. But if it's fake, it makes you look like an attention-seeking clout chaser that will use their kid as a stepping stool, like a fucking doormat, for some clout. There's just no winners with whatever your plan was with this video. Regardless of the authenticity of the story told here, at the very least, it is cringe. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah, I've recently been on a streak of sharing good news with all of you. Positive, silly, or wholesome things. But just like my wrist when I was 15 playing in a wiffle ball game, it's time to break it. I have to share this story here. The streak is coming to an end. How many of you know the name Christopher Schultz? I imagine not that many of you, unless maybe you see him in the comment section on Pornhub or something. He is a deplorable degenerate worst dad of the year. Earlier this year, he killed his 2-year-old daughter by leaving her in a hot car. 109 degrees. She was left in the car for 3 hours so he could go inside and do some online shopping and watch porn. And also played some video games. No doubt bottom fragging in whatever game he was playing, and for 3 hours, he left his daughter in the car to die.
So I'm being treated like a murderer?
No.
I just lost my...
Not at all. I know that. And I know this isn't easy for you. That's why I'm trying to be straightforward and honest with you, okay?
Not the most convincing performance with these crocodile tears he tried to squeak out. His eyes couldn't really get moisturized at all there. So probably not the strongest performer in his high school thespian troupe, but he does look like the kind of guy who still talks about the high school glory days of being an offensive lineman in the state championship. This guy has a history of being a fucking mess and putting his kids in danger.
My whole family, like, my whole family's gonna be ruined.
We'll be alright. So we can't let you do that right now. We have to stand by with you. Okay? As soon as you can, we will let you know.
You can stay in the room if you want, but I'm gonna talk.
I know this isn't easy for you, but the quicker we get this done and finished up, the sooner you can be with your wife. Alright? So
I'm trying to
stand
rinse
by
off
with you.
so I can go to the
I
hospital
know,
to be with my wife.
we're not going to shower or anything right now. You need to stand by.
He got over the death of his daughter very fast. Now he's focused on practicing good hygiene, probably for the first time in his life, because this dude is a complete fucking rotten slob. He has a history of being a drunk and also driving while intoxicated, allegedly. It's unknown if he was intoxicated during this moment here. There's no conclusive evidence of it, but just giving it the old eyeball test here, it seems like he is. Like, I'm sniffing it, and it smells like this guy is fucking hammered. Like, the way he can barely keep his eyes open, the way that he's kind of, like, unsteady on his feet, he kind of wobbles a little bit like Oswald Cobblepot. He, to me, seems intoxicated. But, of course, I'm not an expert. I didn't come over there and fucking breathalyze him or anything. I'm just telling you what my little peepers are looking at here with the evidence, and that's my impression. He actually looks like a caricature of an alcoholic you'd find in a cartoon. Like he'd be a regular at the Family Guy's Drunken Clam.
I don't understand why.
Okay, so we just need to stand by
And
with
I'm
you.
standing by. Why can't I take
I
a
know.
shower while you stand by? What is...
It's not necessary. I'm not going to stand here and watch you shower. There will be time for that, but it's not right now, okay?
Now this happened earlier this year, and his charges have been upgraded to first-degree murder. And the reason for that is, he claimed that he left his daughter in the car because she was sleeping and he didn't want to wake her. But it turns out he has a history of irresponsible and dangerous behavior towards his children, including previously leaving them in cars. And in this case, he said he left the car running, but that he also knew that the car had a safety feature that would turn off the engine after 30 minutes. He said he knew from previous experience. He also tried to claim that he got home at 2 p.m. in order to make it seem like it wasn't that long with her trapped inside of the vehicle. But surveillance camera footage confirms he got home at 12:53 p.m., so the girl was in the car for 3 hours. It wasn't until his wife got home at 4 p.m. that her unconscious body was recovered. So his Weasley slimy little story doesn't work, and he openly admits that he knew the car would turn off. Now they're trying to claim that he forgot the child's in the car, saying like, you know, this kind of thing happens, people just forget their kid in the car. And I guess that is true, because for as long as I can remember, probably for as long as cars have existed, there have been hundreds and thousands of reports of kids and pets dying in hot vehicles because the people were too stupid to recognize that you shouldn't do that, that that's a bad thing. So yeah, I know that is correct, people do forget their kid in the car sometimes, but that's not a good excuse. That's for the most dangerously moronic of society, and I don't think that that somehow should, you know, be okay. Like, oh, they made a boo-boo, what a mistake, a whoops-a-daisy moment, we can't throw them in jail for that. Yes, you should. That is too stupid to be allowed in society. You are a danger to the people around you for being such a fucking idiot. Like, I think that is not a good defense at all. Even if that is the case. I don't know if he planned to kill his daughter here. There's no way I'd be able to tell. But regardless, his irresponsible, dangerous actions led to her death. That is an irrefutable fact. And he needs to face the harshest possible consequences for that. And there's a lot of messages that confirm that this guy is just a complete fucking menace. You haven't shown me you can stop putting the girls in danger or not treat me badly. Even yesterday, you drove home drunk with 2 minors. I've been asking for 3 years to cut back and it's actually gotten worse. You replaced cocaine with alcohol. He repeatedly put their children in danger over and over again. Also, apparently shoplifted beer 2 or 3 cans at a time. So this guy was just fucking boofing beer cans on his way out, just putting them in his prison wallet and shuffling away, I suppose. And there was also numerous incidents where children were wandering around the neighborhood unsupervised without Schultz knowing they were out of the house. On the day of the child's death, the police gave a timeline. The 2-year-old had been in the car for more than an hour and 10 minutes when Schultz began browsing the internet. A computer search shows over half an hour. He visited a shopping site, then spent 5 minutes watching pornography videos. No one removed the child and tried to save her until her mother came home at around 4:15 p.m. About 3.5 hours after police say surveillance cameras saw Christopher Schultz park the car and walk away. Also, according to his other 2 children, he had got distracted putting food away and playing video games. So that's like the whole timeline here. This disgusting Cro-Magnon made the inexplicable decision to leave his daughter in the car because she was sleeping and didn't want to wake her for whatever reason. Claimed he left the car running, even while knowing that the car would shut off in 30 minutes. Goes inside to do a little shopping, probably picking up a few nipple clamps for himself off Amazon, and then watches 5 minutes of porn. So he must have seen one boobie and busted, and then spent the rest of the time putting food away and playing video games. All the while, his daughter was dying in that car. What a piece of shit. And again, this isn't like a freak accident from this guy. He has a history of this kind of dangerous behavior with his children. And here's another text message to confirm it. On the day the child died, the mother on the way to the hospital with daughter texts him and says, "I told you to stop leaving them in the car. How many times have I told you?" He replied, "Babe, I'm sorry." So he has done this a lot. It's been confirmed by many others that Christopher Schultz left his kids in the car pretty frequently. I'm also going to throw this in here because I found it kind of sad when reading about this. Schultz's wife spoke during his appearance in court where he's pleading not guilty to the charges, and she spoke saying that she wants him back home with their other children to begin the grieving process. She also said he is not a risk to the community. He's a risk to everyone. There is repeated behavior that endangered your children, and it led to the 2-year-old daughter dying. And it was pretty obvious from the body cam footage that there wouldn't be any grieving on the behalf of Christopher Schultz. It doesn't really seem like he cared all that much. How could someone who actually cared about his children constantly drunk drive with them or leave them in hot cars so much that you have told him tons of times to stop doing that? That is not the actions of someone who cares, that is the actions of an evil piece of shit. And it seems like she's going to be sticking by his side, which I just do find sad. I'm not like blaming her or anything, because I understand when you've been with someone for so long, it's very hard to come to terms with something like this happening. But she mentioned how he treats her badly and constantly goes against her advice of keeping the children safe. He did the most irresponsible and dangerous shit with his kids frequently. This is not someone that should ever see the light of day again. Schultz also has a 16-year-old from a previous relationship who spoke out about this, saying that Schultz would leave her alone inside of the car sometimes for hours since she was as young as 7. It makes plenty of sense. Actually, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. Once I had to go sit out in the car for 4 to 5 hours and continuously had to restart the car and had only eaten once that day. Like, this is someone who has no regard for human life outside of his home. He, from what I can tell, and this is me just on the outside looking in, it seems like this guy really viewed children as a burden or a nuisance, so any opportunity he had to, like, distance himself from them, he would take. And that would be leaving them in the car so he could go inside and watch porn and play games without having children around to bother him or something. That's the impression I get from this. There is no other explanation for this reckless behavior and this endangering of his children. She described that period as a nightmare, saying that it changed her as a person and she'll never be the same as she was before she moved into that house, and that it got so bad in 2021 she tried to take her own life because she didn't want to live with her father. Child Protective Services got involved and Schultz lost custody of her. This man has a complete disregard for the well-being of his children. This is not the case of a good man making one mistake. This is the case of a bad man making tons and tons of mistakes until it costs someone their life. I truly don't believe that this is some kind of forgivable accident, that it just slipped his mind his daughter was still in the car after it had turned off. This is someone that should face the maximum possible sentence here. I don't know if they'll actually get first-degree murder charges to stick on him here. I'm not a fucking lawyer, but I'm sure there will be some charges that will stick in this case, and I hope that it carries a huge, huge prison sentence. But anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit. That's it. So yeah. Today we're going to be talking about a pure evil YouTuber that was just arrested for some truly heinous stuff. This is not a goofy topic at all. This is going to take that smile off of your face faster than if you had watched a James Corden clip. This is the story about Ruby Frank of the very popular parental advice / parenting blogger / family YouTube channel 8 Passengers. Which is already a really creepy name, by the way. 8 Passengers does sound like some kind of cult. 8 Passengers sounds like the title to a horror movie. And unfortunately, that's not far off, because the woman behind this YouTube channel, Ruby Frank, is basically a monster out of a horror film. Ruby Frank and her business partner, Jody Hildebrandt, were arrested this week, and they're being charged with 6 counts of child abuse. Now, Ruby wasn't alone with the 8 Passengers YouTube channel. Her husband, Kevin, was also prominently featured in there as well. But for some reason, he's not mentioned in any of this right now, aside from a couple of mentions that he's just trying to keep the family together and help the children through this difficult time with Ruby being arrested. But I can't imagine a world where Kevin was somehow oblivious to all of the abuse the children suffered in that household. There's no way Kevin didn't know what was happening. Unless he's an absolute fucking lobotomite zombie, there's no way he didn't know what the children are being subjected to. I just can't imagine a single multiverse possibility that Kevin is squeaky clean in this situation, just totally innocent, had no idea what was happening to the kids in that house. Especially considering in 2020, Kevin was front and center fighting on the front lines to defend himself and his wife against abuse allegations, defending their parental style. I'll go into a bit more detail on that situation a bit towards the end of the video, but basically, some viewers were really concerned for the safety of the children based on what was being presented in some of the 8 Passengers videos, as well as what was being discussed, such as taking away one of the kids' food privileges, as well as one of the kids' bedroom privileges, and eventually they tried to get CPS involved, and CPS did get loosely involved, but the whole time Kevin was defending the actions that they had been taking with their parenting. So like, I don't believe that he didn't know about all of the abuse that was being suffered in that household by the children. But since right now it's only Ruby and Jody who've been arrested, I'll focus on them. They go over some of the stories and videos that she would proudly post on her channel, where she just openly admits, proudly, almost bragging, about torturing her children. She built a reputation as being a strict parent with a strict parental style, but strict is not the right word for it. This isn't like some kind of teacher that's like, hey class, settle down, no fishy business, we got work to do here. And this isn't even strict like, you know, your fucking basic training drill sergeant or anything. This, the way she treats her children is like the way prisoners are treated at Guantanamo Bay. She fucking posted a video where she was laughing about not feeding her daughter any food because she was punishing her. And she even said that she hopes nobody gives her daughter any food because if she did, then the lesson wouldn't be learned. She was starving her daughter as a means of punishment. And it only gets worse. I learned about this on stream, so I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the clips and go over some of the stories that were shared. I think it's important to mention that this was not some small obscure channel. The content they were posting wasn't just being banished to the Shadow Realm immediately with no eyes ever being on it, no one ever seeing it. This was a huge channel. 8 Passengers had 2.5 million subscribers. I know it's become somewhat of a trend in journalism to try and like clickbait headlines with things like famous TikToker arrested for DUI and jiggling butt cheeks to Doja Cat Say So on the side of the road. And you read that and it's very eye-catching because it's like famous TikToker, oh shit, well who was it? And then you'll read the person's name in the article about the crime and then you'll check their TikTok page and it turns out they have 50 followers and all they do is speculate on anime power levels and it's like, well, not exactly a famous TikToker, but it's 2023, so everyone has some kind of social media presence, and journalists will oftentimes just connect it to that. So, famous TikToker does this, or famous Twitter shitposter does that, even though they're not exactly a famous TikToker or this and that. But in this case, it really is a famous YouTuber, a very large YouTube channel that gave tons of parental advice for a very long time, had a very successful family vlog, and then even went on with Jody Hildebrandt to start doing life coaching and general life advice. All the while, she'd been abusing her children the entire fucking time. I don't know, there's something about that picture that's super eerie. It reminds me of something out of like Midsummer. A Utah mother known for chronicling her strict parenting style was arrested after one of her children ran to a neighbor's house seeking help. Her channel name was 8 Passengers. They had 2.2 million subscribers. Ms. Frank hosted the now-defunct YouTube channel 8 Passengers, where she posted videos about her parenting approach with her 6 children, including refusing them food as a form of punishment. Wait, and she did this on YouTube?
My kids are literally starving. I hesitate to say this because it's gonna sound like I'm like a mean barbarian, but I told the kids, I said, I'm not even gonna let you eat breakfast until you get your chores done.
The red flags were all there. She was hiding in plain sight. That's actual torture. You can't do that. Miss Frank and Miss Hildebrandt were each charged on Friday with 6 counts of aggravated child abuse, according to the Washington County Attorney's Office. Each count carries a maximum sentence of 15 years in prison and a fine up to $10,000. According to the affidavit, Miss Frank's 12-year-old son, identified as RF, climbed out of a window of Miss Hildebrandt's home and went to a neighbor's house on Wednesday morning asking for food and water. The child had duct tape on his ankles and wrists, as well as open wounds. He appeared to be emaciated and malnourished. This is some pure evil shit. The neighbor called the police, who then found Miss Frank's 10-year-old daughter, Eve, at Miss Hildebrandt's. She also appeared to be malnourished, the affidavit said. Both children were taken to the hospital. The boy was placed on a medical hold due to his deep lacerations from being tied up with rope and from his malnourishment, according to the affidavit. Oh my god. At one point, Miss Frank had 2.5 million subscribers to her channel, following the lives of her 6 children. In 2020, Chad Frank, then 15, told YouTube viewers in one family video that he had been sleeping on a beanbag for months and that he had lost his bedroom after playing a prank on his little brother. How did she get away with it for so long, if this was literally in their YouTube video? She, on camera in her TikTok or whatever, said that she denies her children food as a form of punishment, and then apparently one of the kids also revealed that he had lost bedroom privileges for months after playing a prank? How? How did this persist? This should have went straight to prison. Do not pass go. In one video recorded by Miss Frank and reposted to TikTok, she said her daughter Eve's teacher had called her to say Eve had come to school without lunch. Miss Frank said the teacher was uncomfortable with her being hungry, but that Eve was responsible for making her own lunch, and that the natural outcome is she is just going to be hungry. Hopefully nobody gives her food and nobody steps in and gives her a lunch, because then she's not going to learn from it. And this is all on video. She said this on video. How was CPS not alerted sooner? Oh, and apparently there was even a bunch of like petitions from the community to try and get them taken down because it was actual evidence of child abuse. But it looks like none of that was taken seriously. We've been trying to tell the police and CPS for years about this, and so glad they finally decided to step up. Kids are safe, but there's a long road ahead. Oh, this was one of the children. Sherry Frank, now a junior at BYU, posted about her mother's arrest on Instagram saying justice is being served. So one of the kids was trying to alert CPS and the police and they didn't do anything? How would you not trust one of the victims of it? Especially when there's so much documented evidence on their own fucking YouTube channel. Now, I mentioned on stream how surprising it was that this hadn't happened sooner when she openly posted content about some of the abuse she was inflicting upon her children. And it turns out a lot of the community that was aware of this channel was actively trying to get CPS involved, especially when it came to that beanbag incident where one of the children made it clear that they had been sleeping on a beanbag for an extended period of time because they had lost their bedroom due to that prank that they had played on one of the siblings. So CPS did get loosely involved at some point, but Ruby was somehow able to like brush them off and nothing came from it somehow, which blows my mind because this isn't one of those situations with hindsight being 20/20. This isn't one of those things where you can just say, man, if we only knew then what we know now, we could have really helped them. Because this is so clear cut. Like, this should have been a no-brainer that something was wrong. For an authority figure to look at any of these videos, it should have been a massive, alarming situation. Fucking sirens should have been blaring. The second that Ruby was proudly gloating, wiggling her finger, celebrating her incredible parenting of just depriving her children of food as a punishment, that should have been enough to get authorities involved and learn about what was actually happening here with the Ruby Frank household. It's super infuriating that this went on for as long as it did, when a lot of people did keep trying to push this forward to CPS to get them to take action, knowing that something was wrong and knowing what Ruby was posting about and saying was not okay. It's not strict parenting, it's actual abuse. By every possible definition. This is not something where it's like, builds character, toughen up, sport, rub some dirt in it. You know, you're not getting breakfast. In fact, you're also not getting your bedroom. It's gonna put some hair on your chest. You're gonna learn something today. You know, it's not anything like that. It's fucking abuse. This isn't parenting. I can't believe that it went on for so long. I'm happy now finally something is being done, but I feel fucking horrible for the kids in this situation that they'd been let down not only by the person that's supposed to care for them more than anyone else in the world, their mother, but they were also let down by the authorities that are supposed to be trying to help them in an emergency situation. It shouldn't have taken this long. Ruby's sisters also have hundreds of thousands of followers, so they posted an Instagram statement that said, "For the last 3 years, we have kept quiet on the subject of our sister Ruby Frank for the sake of her children. Behind the public scene, we have done everything we could to try and make sure the kids were safe. We wouldn't feel right about moving forward with regular content without addressing the most recent events. Once we do, we will not be commenting on it further. Ruby was arrested, which needed to happen. Jody was arrested, which needed to happen. The kids are now safe, which is the #1 priority." I've just got to say that statement of "we kept quiet for the last 3 years for the sake of the children" doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because keeping quiet wasn't helping the children. They were being abused, and if you were aware of that, how the fuck would being quiet somehow help them? How is that doing everything you can behind the scenes to keep them safe? That's doing nothing. That is literally the Simpsons meme of "we've tried nothing and we're all out of ideas." Now, I guess it's possible they didn't know the extent of the abuse that the children were suffering, but even still, if you were aware of children being abused in any capacity, you should have been doing everything in your power to get the kids out of that situation. Being quiet doesn't get them out of the situation. That doesn't do anything to actually save them or keep them safe. You should have made a lot of noise and kept going to authorities over and over again, gathering as much evidence as possible to try and help those kids. And maybe they were. Like, this is, again, just a very short statement, so maybe they were, but them saying that they kept quiet for 3 years to keep them safe, it doesn't compute. Because that's not keeping the kids safe, that's keeping them locked in that prison with a monster. Now, as was mentioned by one of the daughters, there was a lot of attempts to get police and CPS involved that just didn't work. So it is possible that perhaps the sisters here were actively trying to do that and kept trying to get authorities involved unsuccessfully. It's just that saying you kept quiet for 3 years just, it really isn't clicking with me. I don't know why you would be quiet for 3 years if you were actively working to keep the kids safe. Let's imagine that one of the kids wasn't lucky enough to break free and escape through a window and get help from someone nearby. They'd still be tied up right now in that house, and you would still be being quiet. This fucking ridiculous silence is golden strategy didn't help the kids. The only person it helped was your sister, because it allowed her to keep abusing those children for 3 more years. And the only reason this even came crumbling down and she finally got arrested is because one of them broke free, covered in deep lacerations, and was able to get help so they could all be saved. Had that not happened, you would still be quiet and those kids would still be suffering. I know I'm getting pretty heated here, but this story is just infuriatingly evil. I am happy that Ruby and Jody have been arrested. I hope they get the absolute maximum sentence here, but I do still think there's other people that knew what was happening in that household that should also face very severe punishment for allowing that to happen and continue happening for as long as it did. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this. That's about it. See ya. About 5 months ago, I covered the story of the 8 Passengers YouTube channel and all of the evils that were going on behind the scenes. 8 Passengers was a YouTube channel that had over 2 million subscribers. It was a popular family channel that showcased a strict style of parenting. That's what it became known for. But the word strict doesn't really cover it. That's a huge understatement. It was really alarming to a lot of viewers because they were treating their family like they were in the Marine Corps. Like, they ruled their family with an iron fist. And it eventually came out that the children in these videos were being abused. And 5 months ago, the story broke. One of the children freed themselves, escaped the house, went over to the neighbors, who then contacted the authorities, and after an investigation, found some horrific shit was going on with this family. Mainly, the mother, Ruby Frank, abusing her children. Ruby Frank also had an accomplice named Jody Hildebrandt, and together the two of them put these children through unspeakable evils. And today, I have an update to share with all of you because they have been sentenced. Ruby Frank was apparently sobbing at the sentencing and blamed the child abuse on being deceived into thinking the world was evil. I don't understand that thought process at all. She was deceived into thinking the world was an evil place. Thus, she had to be evil herself. You're the evil, Ruby. You are the one who knocks. The fuck you talking about? She had the gall to try and paint herself as a victim, almost, making claims that she was manipulated and, like, morally confused, and it ended up with her turning into this child abuser. It's ridiculous. But luckily, the crocodile tears from this brain-dead strategy here didn't do much to help her. She was sentenced to 4 to 60 years in prison. She pled guilty, along with her associate, to abusing 2 of Frank's children. However, neither woman will serve more than 30 years in prison because of a Utah law that prohibits consecutive sentences exceeding that. Moments before a Utah District Court judge sentenced Frank to consecutively serve 1 to 15 years behind bars for each of the 4 counts of aggravated child abuse, Frank tearfully told the court she never meant to harm the children. Which makes absolutely no sense. She obviously knew what she was doing was harming the children, because she would deprive them of food, water, a place to sleep, and the children were even beaten, among other horrible things. All things that can't necessarily be confused with just building character or something like that. Can't possibly be just written off as strict parenting. This isn't one of those situations where you'll see people come out of the woodwork to defend it. They were just spanking their kids. It helps discipline them. You know, put some hair on their chest. I remember when Peepaw took me out back and made me gargle a glass of motor oil and nails in order to turn into a man, and look how I turned out. It's nothing like that. She would beat her kids and left them in states of malnourishment. It's so heinous what Ruby and Jody inflicted upon these children. And that Utah law that prohibits them from serving that full, potentially 60-year sentence really sucks here because they deserve life in jail for what they've done here. The reason why there's a huge range of 4 to 60 years is because there's still one more step where another board is going to ultimately decide how much time they should spend there. And if the board members are watching, it better be the maximum. Anything shy of the maximum is an affront to justice. Heavens to Betsy, I tell you, if they end up only serving 4 years for these actions, I'm gonna have a conniption. You would be enabling monsters to get away with it. And that is an unforgivable sin on your part. You would be condemning yourself to hell for that. You'd be dining down there with Lucifer in the afterlife if you let them get away with this and only get 4 years of prison time. So the Business Insider article dives a bit more into Frank's behavior during this. So she was saying that she was deceived and had a distorted version of reality that went largely unchecked. She then just starts blabbering to try and prove that she had a distorted view of reality, saying, "I was led to believe that this world was an evil place filled with cops who control, hospitals that injure, government agencies that brainwash, church leaders who lie and lust, husbands who refuse to protect, and children who need abuse." Let me pause real quick. Ruby, if this was your view of the world, why wouldn't you want to rise above that and be the exact opposite of that perspective? So you're viewing the world through your stupid glasses. Whatever. You got your fucking moron dunce hat on. Whatever. Why wouldn't you want to be the exception? Why wouldn't you want to be the one that's loving and nurturing their children? Why wouldn't you want to be the one that's not evil in this evil world you believe you live in? That doesn't make any sense. You are just yapping about fucking nothing. This is a nothing burger of a statement. It is once again just her trying to paint herself as almost some kind of victim of deceit. Now, I don't know if this next part is her just putting on a facade, faking self-awareness, or if she really does finally understand that she is the big bad here, and that it is all her fault, but she says that it was her choice to believe and behave this paranoia. It culminated into criminal activity, and she stands ready to take accountability, and then says at the end, I can see now over the past 4 years I was in a deep undercurrent that led us to danger. I would never have led you to darkness knowingly. I was so disoriented that I believed dark was light and right was wrong. I would do anything in this world for you. To me, this feels like hollow words, because the only thing she ever did in the world for her children was keep them in a state of malnourishment, fear, and misery. I really get the impression that Ruby is a manipulator. I think what she's trying to do here is put on this act of remorse. I really get the impression, through learning what I have about this case now, that Ruby would do anything to keep herself out of trouble. But I think deep down she isn't really remorseful of her actions. I don't think she existed in this year-long disoriented state that led her to abusing her kids for this long period of time. She was so proud of the way that she handled her family, she would post about it frequently on YouTube and defend it as like a strict parenting style. So I really think she's not remorseful and just desperately trying to save her own ass. Also, the next thing she said about her willingness to sacrifice all for her children being masterfully manipulated into something very ugly, once again reads to me as her trying to pass the blame. Now, throughout a lot of this, it seems that Ruby is trying very hard to play like the deceived victim here, and Jody kind of being like the puppet master behind it. Jody was the one that was really kind of isolating Frank, keeping her away from her husband and all of these other things, and making sure that her morality was constantly confused. So it really just seems like Frank's strategy was to push a lot of that onto Jody, where she was the Frankenstein who made Ruby into a monster. Allegedly, Ruby had been made to believe that Hildebrandt had insight to offer a path to continual improvement, and eventually it twisted into something heinous, which resulted in all of the abuse. Frank's lawyer even outright said that she was manipulated by Hildebrandt, saying that Hildebrandt systematically isolated her from extended family, older children, and her husband, and gave her a distorted sense of morality. Even though, like I said, Ruby Frank is a child abuser who I also believe to be a manipulator as well. So Jody also is evil, let's not forget. So speaking of Jody, she received the same prison sentence as Ruby. Jody will be facing 4 to 60 years in prison as well. Again, that's up to the board to decide exactly how long, and I'm hoping they make the right decision and give her and Ruby the maximum amount of time in prison. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the 8 passengers abuse case, there's going to be a quick summary that I'll go through here. So in August, one of the children, the 12-year-old son, climbed through a window from Hildebrandt's house to get help for himself and his 10-year-old sister, which prompted a neighbor to call the police, and at the time, the police described the child as emaciated and injured with duct tape around his ankles and wrists. The prosecutor said Miss Frank and her business partner held 2 children ages 9 and 11 turning 12 in a concentration camp-like setting. The children were regularly denied food, water, beds to sleep in, and virtually all forms of entertainment. The children were beaten, bound, forced to do manual labor in the sweltering heat, and emotionally abused. Both children had extensive physical injuries from the abuse that required hospitalization when they were found, and the injuries from the bindings to the 12-year-old were particularly awful. There's more information about some of the abuse that she would inflict upon her children. She kicked her son, held his head underwater, covering his nose and mouth so he couldn't breathe. All kinds of horrible things that I don't think I need to keep going into detail on. You get the idea. Ruby and Jody are monsters. Plain and simple. Now I want to briefly discuss the husband, Kevin. So, as you've just learned, Jody had urged them to separate. She kept Ruby isolated from him. In order to save their marriage, Jody suggested that they separate, so Kevin eventually moved out and stopped communicating with his family at Jody's direction. Now, social workers and police were called to the family home multiple times in recent years, but there are no formal accusations. Kevin has made statements through his lawyer, Randy Kester, and has stated, "The treatment these children received at the hands of those whom the children had a right to trust was horrific and inhumane both physically and psychologically. Kevin remains focused on the rehabilitation of these sweet and vulnerable children so that they might return to a normal life as soon as possible." So it sounds like he had no idea what was happening there due to being separated from the family like that. When I initially covered this story, I didn't know that he was away from the rest of the family and completely ceased communication altogether, so I guess that would explain how he'd be in the dark. But if I'm being honest, I'm extremely surprised that he wouldn't see his children a single time throughout this long period of abuse. Like, if he saw them one time, he would immediately know what's going on. Because the neighbor, the authorities, they were able to immediately see something was wrong. They were in a malnourished, emaciated state. There was, the bruises, like so much that you would immediately see and you can't be oblivious to. It'd be impossible to be oblivious to. You can't ignore it. You would know. I'm not trying to accuse him of anything here. I'm just saying it is a little weird that he wouldn't see these children throughout this long period of the abuse they endured. I understand Jody told them to separate and to stop talking, but I can't imagine someone just willingly doing that without checking in occasionally. Especially because they're still together. Those are still his children too. You know what I mean? But anyway, I am happy to see that Ruby and Jody will be facing prison time for this. Hopefully a lot of prison time for this, because it is heinous. What they've done is unforgivable. And I think even 30 years, if they get the maximum sentence, is a light sentence for this shit. This is awful stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to give you an update to this story. That's really about it. So yeah. Last night I got sent a clip that made me extremely angry. It's a clip of a streamer playing Madden 21 with his child on his lap, and then he did poorly in the game, like he missed a first down catch or something, and he just went full fucking primal caveman and smashed his controller on the desk, which made his kid start crying and made him even angrier. So then he throws his kid on the chair and then yells at the kid because he's doing shitty in the game. Right away, him playing Madden 21 tells me he already makes bad decisions, but to broadcast your child abuse on Twitch is a really fucking wild one to do. I'll play the clip for you now, but I just want to give a fair warning. I think it's pretty hard to watch, so just keep that in mind, but I think it's important to see how big of a piece of shit this guy is.
God damn it! $300 fucking controller! Yo, can I fucking press pause? Just sit right here. Stop. I gotta go, yo. I'm about to fucking lose it, yo. Shut the fuck up!
No, your computer isn't lagging, nor is the video itself. This pathetic worm just streams using a dial-up connection that he's probably stealing, so the frame rate's dog shit, and he has a $300 controller apparently, but a 30-cent internet connection and webcam. The webcam looks like you're trying to watch censored hentai. It's so fucking pixelated. But hey, that's just his style, baby. Child abuse in 360p. Really sad shit all around. Like I said, I think it's pretty hard to watch. Now, he didn't like throw the child, like he didn't go in there and like slam dunk the kid into the chair or anything, or spike it like a football in Madden. But to aggressively throw the child down and then scream in his face is nothing shy of horrible parenting and genuine child abuse, I think. I think most people would agree with that, except for a couple of really battle-hardened Twitter users with their furry porn avatars and anime profile pics saying that it's not child abuse and they went through similar things and loved their parents and it made them stronger, and that you're just a bunch of pussies these days if you can't take your parents yelling at you in your face because they got very sad and salty at a fucking sports video game. I think it's definitely child abuse. 100% in my opinion. Like, I think there's really no argument there. I feel extremely sorry for the child. The father is a worthless hemorrhoid going into this full fucking meltdown mode and tantrum over just doing poorly in a sports video game is just the highest level of pitiful I could imagine. I don't remember exactly what his wording was, but in his little Twitch slogan, the little sentence or paragraph under the stream to let you know about the streamer, he said something like, "Being a loving father and supreme turbo gaming ultimate gamer warrior is my mission in life." I'd definitely say that is a complete mission failure. I don't know what it is about sports games. There must be some kind of curse on the genre. It just brings out the demon in people. It's fucking pathetic shit, though. The good news is he's been banned from Twitch, and he's, like, deleted all his social media and shit. I don't know if this is true, but apparently his wife actually kicked him out because of this, so that's good that she's taking action to protect the child from him. Because if he's gonna melt down like this over something as trivial as a Madden game against a fucking computer, he's not even playing a real person, he's playing the fucking AI and going into this like nuclear explosion meltdown of anger.
So,
he's not safe to be around. Again, I don't know if that's true or just some kind of Twitter fan fiction, but what is true is fucking sports gamers are a different kind of salty in their game. It reminds me of the plot of Kingsman when Valentine put the chips in the phones that make people mindlessly kill each other to get the world's population down. I feel like Valentine could have done the same thing by just making everyone play Madden. They would have been at each other's throats and the world would have been in chaos. But yeah, anyway, this clip just made me really upset and I wanted to just kind of talk about it a little bit and let people know that it's not okay. I don't know why there's like kind of a decently sized portion of people on Twitter arguing.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Hey there, no. Lady. Too far back, fast forward. Oh god, wait, too far. We went too far. You're not supposed to see this. Rewind. Ah, there we go. Over the summer, during my first episode of my series Hell World, I briefly touched upon the subject of Donald Trump planning to make burning the American flag illegal.
And you know, we ought to do something, Mr. Senators. We have two great senators. We ought to come up with legislation that if you burn the American flag, you go to jail for 1 year.
I could go off about flag burning forever. Would you guys like to see an entire video dedicated to me ranting about flag burning? And I wrote type ye if you wanted to see a video about it. Needless to say, thousands of you typed ye. So I planned on making just a normal, regular video on the topic of flag burning. But at the last second, and I mean the last second, I had the brilliant idea to attend a Trump rally. And not just any Trump rally. That Trump rally. In order to get real patriots' opinions on this subject. Now this video is very goofy and silly, in stark contrast to what happened 10 minutes after we left the rally. So this video has nothing to do with that. You're gonna have to wait for my next Hell World episode, where I go into more detail about my opinions on what happened at the Capitol and the aftermath and all that stuff. So if you want to see that, subscribe, click the notification bell, because apparently now you have to click 2 things. Very cool website, not at all broken and useless. So since this was super spontaneous and I have no friends, I sent out a bat signal on my Discord server. Do any of you live in DC? I need a camera person. And that is when she responded. Why the hell is CNN on my TV? Oh, she's here. Tooth, hey!
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 Hi, I'm Shu's apprentice, second in command, aka assistant regional manager.
Oh, way down south in the land of traitors, rattlesnakes and alligators.
I'm a radical socialist communist. About as far left as you can go.
Pose, photo shoot.
Roger, roger. The only way it could be more left is if I was left-handed, but unfortunately that is not true because I'm normal.
So we're gonna
What
be.
the fuck?
What?
How much does this cost a night?
The stimulus check? About that much. What? Why are you grabbing the Tooth! Wait, no! Now I am not a Trump supporter. I did not support him and I did not vote for him, but I did think he was like cool in 2016. I didn't take him very seriously, and I for sure did not take people's criticisms of him seriously. I thought he was like this anti-establishment outsider who was gonna like take on the swamp. I quickly found out, of course, that that was not the case, as his administration just spiraled further and further into insanity. He surrounded himself with neocons, he did a bunch of weird shit like the trans-military ban, he broke some fucking nuclear deals, he even went so far as to break Obama's drone strike high score, which I honestly thought was impossible to do. Also, he did all of this, like, last minute, literally as he was, like, walking out the door. Pretty up. In the end, it turned out there was no 4D chess. The president was just retarded. But despite all of that, despite my hatred for the president, unlike my Zoomer comrade who did not want to be there, I was very excited to go to this rally. I was very excited to be around people who disagree with me politically. Because you see, I am not like other liberals. I'm a cool liberal. I'm very open-minded and tolerant of those who disagree with me. And that is the real reason for me going to this rally. To break out of that echo chamber I have found myself in. To fully embrace the free marketplace of ideas. To hear different perspectives and beliefs. To really challenge myself.
I think Shu on Head has ulterior motives for going to this Trump rally.
You ready?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, I forgot something. You hold that?
What is this?
It's the husband bag.
The what?
The husband. Don't worry about it. Just hold it, put it in your backpack. Do you want anything from the Trump stand?
I want everything. Oh my god, there's just an actual Biden 2020 shirt.
Oh really?
But it's right next to a Trump shirt. Equality and capitalism.
We're on Black Lives Matter Street. Just write shit on the ground, but no police reform. We are currently on the beautiful streets of DC. This microphone is fake. It doesn't work. Thanks, Amazon. Mitch McConnell, turn on your location. Where are you, bitch? It's the big pointy thing.
The Washington Monument?
Yes, that, yes. It's that. Oh, there's so many cops.
I may or may not have an active warrant.
See, look at all these beautiful buildings, right? Look at all that classic architecture, that good. And then you got that eyesore.
That eyesore is the African American History Museum.
Is it? Oh no! Got that. I feel like that's just like a secret rocket that's gonna take off one day, don't you? It's a nuke.
It's aimed at our own White House in case we already had too many protesters and they actually breached the White House.
So the candidate whose supporters are burning American flags, and I say all the time, let's put in some kind of a major resolution. You burn an American flag, you spend 1 year in jail. Do it.
In 1984, Gregory Lee Johnson burned an American flag outside of the RNC Convention Center to protest Ronald Reagan. He was arrested, but then he appealed, arguing that burning the flag was symbolic speech and therefore fell under the First Amendment. The court agreed, and he won. Burning the flag is freedom of speech. So to truly test their loyalty to the First Amendment, to freedom, I went into the lion's den for 2 days with one simple question. Do you think burning the American flag should be legal?
I would say, no.
No, I do not.
I think that's treason. No.
No? I do not believe that it should be legal. However, asterisk, I believe in freedom of speech.
Absolutely. However.
Hell no.
Well, no. It's not very patriotic.
You can't burn any flag. It's disrespectful to everybody.
Okay.
Of course not. It's a sacred article.
In Boy Scouts, I learned that to retire a flag, burn it. So I don't think it's like inherently wrong.
I think that's blasphemy. I will judge you, but I know I don't think you should be arrested.
I would have no respect for the person who did that, but I don't think you should look at a crime and put them in jail for it.
Should it be legal to burn the American flag?
Yeah, I believe in the First Amendment.
Yeah.
So I would not do it, but I would support the right for somebody to do it.
I think when you make it illegal, you're going down a slippery slope.
I believe that as a First Amendment right, that you do have the right to burn the American flag, and I'm a veteran.
Oh, okay.
It disgusts me that people that do.
And before you come at me like, what about pride flags? Yes. What about them? It is legal, and should be legal, to burn pride flags, to burn any flag. But shoo, wait, you say, with tears in your eyes. This one guy burned a gay flag, and he went to jail for like 18 years. The flag was not his property. He stole it off a church. And he also had a record, which is why his sentence was so high, which I disagree with. But he didn't simply go to jail just for burning a pride flag. Aha, but shoo, wait, you say? Just last week, a Proud Boy was arrested for burning a Black Lives Matter banner. Again, it wasn't his property. And again, he stole it off a church. What is up with people burning church property, you heathens? I actually burned one of my pride flags last year as a joke on Twitter, and people were mad. They can die mad.
I really don't like people burning the American flag. The Proud Boys burned a BLM flag. If that's illegal, it should definitely be illegal to burn the American flag. If it's your property, then perhaps it should be legal, I think.
Well, if you can, then you should be able to burn the Black Lives Matter flag and not get arrested.
Well, what if the Black Lives Matter flag is someone else's property?
If you steal someone's flag and burn it, that's a whole different story.
Day 2.
I'm so nervous to ask people. Would you guys like to answer a question? No?
I'm good, thank you.
Guys, do you want to answer a question?
I'm good.
No? Okay. Yo, I'm left-wing gun girl today. Oh my god, do you think she's here?
Oh, she totally is.
Oh my god, Lord, please let us run into Gun Girl today. We can make our microphones touch. Caitlin, want to touch tips with me?
Have no fear, Ernie's here.
Do you think it should be legal to burn the American flag?
Absolutely.
Yeah?
Because the Constitution says you can. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want free speech censored at all.
I mean, it's a First Amendment issue. If somebody wants to burn it, I suppose I support the right. I served in the military to support people's rights to do a lot of weird things that I don't agree with.
No.
No?
No, I've served in the military. That's not what I served for.
It's a free country. If people want to do something, then it's their right to do it as long as you're not hurting other people. I don't care what you do.
Trump 2020 on YouTube. It should not be legal. Not in this country.
Definitely not.
No?
Definitely burn the person that burns the flag.
Absolutely not. Definitely not? Absolutely not.
No.
Heck
no.
It's unacceptable, period.
Should be legal.
Not be legal.
Literally wearing something that says the First Amendment, and he's like, no, it should be illegal.
Hell no.
Hell no?
Oh shit. No,
Hell no. I think anybody should burn that burns the American flag should have their ass stomped.
No, I don't. No? I think that's disrespect.
You're still gonna have fall
So disrespect could be illegal. Now, if they answered no,
This is a bad
my
angle.
follow-up
Oh
question
shit,
was,
this is a bad angle.
what's an acceptable punishment for somebody who burns the American
shit.
flag?
Oh shit.
And that
Oh shit.
question
Oh shit. Oh
produced
shit.
some
No, 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 no.
interesting answers.
No.
They should not be a citizen of America.
Where should they go?
Where should they go? Cuba, Russia, Germany, China, deported. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The first thought that came to my mind, I'm not going to say, burn them.
Burn them?
How about exportation?
Where would you export them to?
Antarctica is nice this time of year.